And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 8th round of the 11th season of the Bandit Racing League in the BRL Cup Series for season number 11. We're back, folks. I know it's been a couple weeks. We had a big major technical issue last week, and I just want to be the first on behalf of Full Send Racing Network to apologize for the issues we had last week, and unfortunately for some of the issues we're having this week. This race here at Charlotte for the 8th round of the season here in the Clutch Automotive 125. Well, this race, we know it's going to be a great on-track product because the off-track side of things has been relatively difficult, let's just say, for our favorite broadcasters over here at Full Send Racing Network. First of all, we got to, of course, shout out our usual sponsors, Perfect Shine Auto Spa, on behalf of GFR Racing and Kevin Foster, one of our title sponsors of the series, as well as Apex Sim Racing, your place for all things sim racing accessories to get yourself into sim racing and make your own simulator and your own setup to get into iRacing or whatever sim it may be. Apex Sim Racing is the place we recommend you go. Link, as always, is in the description down below. Hi everybody, I am Marshall Crocker, and I will just say right off the bat, this broadcast, first of all, you may notice the camera's a little bit different, the lighting's a little bit different. There has just been a lot going on in the background here, broadcast-wise, to get prepped for tonight as a producer. Lots of stuff is not working. Number one thing I just want to point out, you will not see your usual graphics package tonight. I want to make it very clear up front. Usually best not to pay attention to these things or make attention to them, but we want to make very clear that going forward, this is not the standard we're looking for, and that things will be fixed for the future. So the usual Bandit Racing League broadcast, you know and love, that the usual quality will be back in the next couple weeks. It's just a lot's gone on behind the scenes with some of the software and various things we use. It'll get fixed. That said, we will still be broadcasting tonight. We'll be covering tonight's race as usual. We'll just be doing so with some rather primitive graphics that will appear on the top of your screen. You'll still know what's going on, and luckily I have my fabulous co-commentator alongside me to help cover tonight's race and take a little bit of the pressure off. Chris, we are here at Charlotte, luckily a track that is very reliable for creating great racing, one that I'm not worried about will produce an awesome broadcast tonight. And here for the Clutch Automotive 125, it's been a couple weeks, but it was the Brett Guzik show, or at least it has been these last couple weeks. And tonight, as we head to a track like Charlotte, a track that we know Brett has won at in the past, and we're really hitting that mid-season swing here in the regular season of the Bandit Racing League, where we're still a few weeks removed from the playoff cutoff line. Brett's now in, a lot of the big names are in, and now it just becomes a case, I think, of flexing the muscles a little bit. And do you think that's going to be the case? Do you think we'll see some of the guys who already have wins double down, or is this maybe a shot for somebody like a Mark Allen Bivens or a Jason Greenwell that's fast in practice to really take the opportunity? What do you think?
Has the opportunity to be another Brett Guzik show. I mean, he's been fast for the past couple weeks. He's been fast all season long really, but the first couple weeks of the season, the luck didn't really go his way. So, I mean, any week I think could be a Brett kind of week, but nonetheless, this is this track and this package can really mean that anybody can run up front tonight. And if you're lucky and you have a good car towards the end of the race, you put yourself in the right position, I think you can come away with a victory. So this could be one of those races tonight where some of those guys that may be looking for a win or hurting for points, this could be their night.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I think guys looking for a win, first of all, I want to talk about him because he is near the top of the practice leaderboard. In fact, we'll take this opportunity maybe to get a little bit accustomed to what tonight's broadcast graphics will look like, just because we're going for, again, the best we got. We're going for a bit of a primitive setup. But you see here up top, currently sitting third on the leaderboard, that number 83 car of Jason Greenwell. A guy who's always run really well in the past at the cookie cutter mile and a halves, Charlotte being one of them. Currently sitting third, and he's been fast in practice and qualifying this year, as well as Mark Allen Bivens, who is running in the 76 car, sitting currently on pit road. He's done his practice for the night, but he comes home P2 after the back-to-back race winner Brett Guzik on the leaderboard. And those are two names that, well, Chris, we've seen one of them in victory lane in the past, that being Mark Allen Bivens, the young gun, as well as our guy Jason Greenwell, the guy who we've dubbed Mr. Pompous in this series due to an inside joke, despite being a really nice guy. Both guys who, on their week, can score top fives, can be quick, and they are both in need of a win right now, both below the playoff cutoff line on traditional points right now. So, two names, what do you think? What do you hear, the 76 and the 83 car? Are those two cars you think tonight could genuinely keep up that practice pace in the race?
You know, you certainly hope so, right? I mean, these guys, they put in a lot of practice hours. They're coming in here every single week. They're pretty fast. They're qualifying well. They're keeping their car up front, but the luck isn't quite going their way. So you're hoping that tonight is their night and they can keep that thing up front. But certainly starting off on the right foot with being fast in practice.
And we are only a few minutes away from the end of practice as usual before we get into tonight's pre-race qualifying. And, well, at the moment we have a 25-car grid, as we will see when we scroll further through as the race goes on. But right now it's looking like we got Hunter Henry there as the last driver joining in our 25-car field. Just to give you a quick update through the top 10 here in practice, as we don't usually draw much attention to it. It's Brett Guzik, Mark Allen Bivens, Jason Greenwell, then Christopher Hamilton. Following him is Benjamin Lacey in the number 7 car. Let's see if Benjamin's currently on track. The filming the wild number 7 scheme is just heading out of his pit box as we speak. And he rounds off your top 5. Then Michael Ramos, who's actually a past pole sitter here at everybody's favorite Charlotte, is just leaving the pit box, I believe, as well as we speak, or no, just pulling in here. So Michael Ramos currently sitting in the 6th position, followed by Kevin Foster and Ricky Hart Jr., not in that order. The 2 GFR teammates, then David Lakey and Nick Nickerson will round off the top 10, though I have heard Nick may not be competing in tonight's race. But to kind of bring it to tonight's track here, Chris, I mean, Charlotte's a track you've run at in the past. I actually remember you doing quite well here in the past in your number 13 entry. So when you think Charlotte, what should the fans expect? Another mile and a half similar to Atlanta 2 weeks ago. What's Charlotte's claim to fame? What kind of racing do you think we'll see tonight, especially in this Cup package with the close racing we've seen in the past?
So, contrary to the other mile and a half of Atlanta, this one is going to be far different. This one has a lot of speed, but the tire fall off isn't quite there. The racing surface is a little bit smaller. I would say a lot bit smaller, actually. But the racing here is going to be a little bit different because of the package now. The package is creating more drag on the cars. The car's going to be a lot closer together. It's going to be a lot tighter, which for here, with how fast this track actually is, it's going to be like a mini Daytona. Just take Daytona and try to stuff it onto like a Bristol, basically. These guys are going to be going so fast, so close, and on a really short racetrack. So, it's going to make for some exciting racing. I think that it's going to, as you get a little bit further back in the pack and you're in the dirtier air, as they say, it's going to make for some ill-handling race cars. So I'm looking to see how that goes throughout the race, to see if that will create a lot of cautions with a lot of like single car spins and stuff like that. But if the drivers tonight can keep everything nice and tidy, I think we're in for an exciting race. I think you're going to see a lot of passing. You're going to see a lot, people not being able to get away from each other and having to, fight every single lap to try and maintain that track position. So that's going to be the name of the game tonight, is track position.
I'm just going to give you guys kind of a run through here of some of the cars that are currently on track and just give you a kind of a handle on paint schemes, because obviously tonight we will be kind of graphic limited. Want to make sure you guys get in touch with what drivers we have in this series, and maybe this will give us a good opportunity to pay attention to some cars a little bit further down the field. But we got Bill Harkins here, first of all, of course, the league owner there in the number 12 car, driving behind Kevin Foster, so that silver entry, the number 8 GFR of Kevin Foster, followed by the 12 of Bill Harkins. Elsewhere on the track, warming up, we got the 32 car of Terry Condis, that blue and white entry as he comes across the start-finish line, currently sitting himself in P20 here in pre-race practice. Other than that, we have the 84 car pulling onto pit road and the aforementioned Curtis Yancey. That 51 car as he heads to the outside wall here to end off practice. I guess he's thinking, well, might as well round it off on a low note there in practice. That way you get the crashing out of the way for the proper event. And now we see our leaderboard restarting, so it'll be a little bit here. The timing board up top is an actual top to bottom leaderboard that'll only update once cars come in, but we'll keep it tuned here on the top 10 so you can see full updates as drivers finish their laps. But first of all, before we get into tonight's qualifying session, and as we wait for guys to finish their warm-up laps, we want to talk about tonight's race sponsor, that being Clutch Automotive. We thank Clutch Automotive, as always, for sponsoring tonight's race here, as always, at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Clutch Automotive, courtesy, again, of Kevin Foster and GFR Racing, just to give you a little bit of information, as usual. Well, Clutch Automotive is an automotive repair shop in the Houston area, of course, home of Kevin Foster. They have 4 locations throughout the Houston area, and they're an automotive repair service and service shop in West Houston and Friendswood. They have over 100 years of technician experience, and they are an honest, reliable, and friendly customer service-based employer, and they are a really, really awesome place in the Houston area that we want to support because they are your sponsor here for not just this race here at Charlotte, but a few weeks back they sponsored our race, I believe, at Dover. So we want to thank them, as always, on behalf of the entire Full Sun Racing Network team and the Bandit Racing League. We thank the good people at Clutch Automotive for sponsoring, and again, if you you are in the Houston or greater Texas area, go check them out. Their website and the link to all their services and to get an estimate is down below in the YouTube description. With that being said, we are now starting to see times tick down, and number 1 on the leaderboard, we watch him right now, is Curtis Yancey. Really good first lap there in the 51 car, running a 29.739, just under half a minute. And here he comes one more time across the line. Will he improve? It's looking like he will. Going to go to a 29.681. Now 8/10 ahead of second place. Currently second place held by Christopher Holmes. And here we go on board with the GFR Racing number 15 car. Down across the line he comes. Will he improve? His teammate Nick Nickerson goes to the top of the board. He goes second. Mark Allen Bivens currently going to sit in 4th place, but it's Brett Guzik here starting to heat up there. That 04 car off the high banks, running that gray easy go scheme with the green number highlights. He is going to go to 3rd. So 29.587 the lap here by Brett, but it's a 29.549 from Nick Nickerson, who provisionally becomes your pole sitter. Watching cars around the track running their laps, are going to jump to the 85 here. The 85 of Cody Welch, who should be here on screen. There we are. Cody Welch, the fan favorite, as we all know here, starting to tune it down. Looks like his laps are done for the night, but he's going to put it in P3. Going to put it on the inside of row number 2. Mark Allen Bivens again holds on to 5th, and it's David Lakey there. Really good lap there by the 84 car. He currently sits in 6th. Let's go back to Benjamin Lacey, a guy who's had a really, really solid season as of late and has really started to pick up those good results. He currently sits in 6th on the leaderboard. Or no, he's moved up actually. Just moved up to 3rd, running a 29.578 second lap. So there we go. Time's starting to come in there right now. As you can see up on the top of your screen, it is Nickerson, Hamilton, Lacey, Welch, Guzik, then Bivens, Lakey, Paul, Gibson, and Curtis Yancey. Your top 10 here. And Ricky Hart Jr. going to bring it across the line. The fellow GFR Racing driver who, remember, broke that winless streak earlier this season at Kansas. Comes across the line, only going to run at the moment. Looks like I can't even see him on the timing board there. Maybe I'm blind, but it looks like his lap did not register, or at least not as of yet. So looks like a no Ricky Hart Jr. for the time being. But Nickerson, Hamilton, Lacey, Welch, Guzik. I mean, that's not a completely unforeseen top 5 there. You got to think, Chris. Those are some names that in the Bandit Racing League, especially, we are used to seeing towards the top of the board, especially on flat-out lap pace.
Yeah, certainly, you know, you're used to seeing these guys up front during practice. I mean, practice and qualifying and race. I mean, these guys have been up front all season long. So that's a familiar sight there. Good runs by Mr. Lakey and Bivens there, put them in the top 10. But yeah, solid showing, really fast laps. But the lap times and the race times are going to be significantly different. So be prepared for a completely different kind of racing as we go into the actual race itself.
We ride here on board with Ricky Hart Jr. just getting some final practice in here, it would seem. He's now run, I think, 5 full laps here in qualifying. And no, actually, we'll finally get a time on the leaderboard. Going to go 30.446. So something went wrong there for Ricky Hart. Going to start from the back of the field here. 24th out of 25. Not terrible. 23 cars isn't an impossible amount. But, Chris here in the Bandit Racing League, as we've learned so far this season, you never want to be further back than you can help it, because that's typically how you end up getting in major wrecks. And we'll hope that's not the case tonight for Ricky Hart Jr.
Yeah, we've seen it, coming through the hornet's nest, as I like to call it there. It always leaves the chance for some bad luck to go your way. So, unfortunate for him, he'll have to kind of drive through there, but he's more than capable of doing that. So, good luck to him tonight, and I'm expecting to see him up front later on.
Well, here we go, folks. It is time for your starting lineup, courtesy of Perfect Shine Auto Spa. We go to your pole sitter, and well, I wouldn't say it's been a long time since we've seen this guy on the pole, but it's certainly been a couple races. Mr. Nick Nickerson will roll off at the front of tonight's field, and certainly, again, not a name that we're not used to seeing, but it is always refreshing to see that 2-car, get a little bit of speed here at one of these tracks. And I find races where Nick feels like the guy to beat, where he feels like the fast car. He kind of feels like the Darth Vader, He runs the darker scheme as the guy that's tenured, has a lot of wins, and a lot of guys are looking to beat. So it's good to have a nice villain to start off tonight's night, and he will start as your pole sitter alongside his teammate Christopher Hamilton here on the front row, starting in that number 15 GFR / Bandit Racing League scheme. Starting in 3rd, we have Benjamin Lacey here in the Filming the Wild number 7 car. Starting in the 4th position, it is Cody Welch, the fan favorite, running that also fan favorite American Eagle scheme he runs. Not American Eagle, the clothes brand, the American Eagle as in two separate American trademarks. We also have Brett Guzik starting on the Easy Go number 04 car, rounding off the top 5. Then it is David Lakey in the number 84. Starting in 8th position, it is the 8 car of Kevin Foster. We skip Mark Allen Bivens there, who starts in 6th. So there's Mark Allen Bivens in his entry. Then we got Kevin Foster starting in the 8th spot. Then we have Hayden Paul is going to be starting here in the 54 in the 9th position. I think one of a couple, top 10s here in qualifying this season, but a really good result for him. Then it's Connor Gibson starts in the 31 car. And that'll round off your top 10 here as the rest of the field catches up to speed, including Curtis Yancey, who will start in the 11th spot. We're just going to scroll down here to your next page here on the leaderboard. It'll only be your top 23 for now, but we'll get the rest added onto the leaderboard here momentarily. But it is Curtis Yancey, as you can see there up top. Matt Crockett will start in the 12th spot. Paul Wilson will start in 13th. We're just going to jump up here to Nick Nickerson's camera feed. But we also have Michael Ramos starting in 14th, the former pole sitter here. We'll see if he can move his way through the field. Kyle Fahey starts in the 15th position ahead of Bill Harkins in 16th. Dawson Guzik and Eddie Haggy make up row number 9. Then Nolan Gross and Blake Huitt round off your top 20. It's Jackson Knock and Jason Greenwell. Greenwell fast in practice, 22nd in quali. We'll see how he can move up here. That's the 11th row. Then it's Terry Condis, Ricky Hart Jr., Hunter Henry, and Joshua McQuiggan to round off tonight's field. We are ready, folks. We're doing it in a bit of an unusual way here on the broadcast side, but we're in for some good racing. Let's go racing, folks. Green flag here for the Clutch Automotive 125 at Charlotte. And already the two teammates, the 15 and the 2, side by side down to turn number 1.
As we have the teammates side by side in turn number 1, we had the 51 car taking a little toward the grass there on the initial start. It looks like he's got it going pretty good now. So tough break for him as we have the 15 car to the point.
Yes, indeed. Really, really good start so far from Christopher Hamilton up front as he just powers it off of turn number 2 there in that very first lap. Got the better run on Nick, and now up to the front. And already Nick Nickerson is down to 4th. And I say that as we get a caution coming out here to start off tonight's race, first of the night. And it's looking like the 88 car going to be the one majorly off the pace. That is the 88 of Kyle Fahey, going to go to the back of the grid right off the bat. Okay, so let's go back a little bit, folks. Let's get a replay here, courtesy of Butt Kicker. To go to our Butt Kicker racing replay. Here is coming off of turn number 3 and 4. That 88 car looking okay right now. Caught in the middle of a 3 wide. No, it looks like it happens in front of him. So something goes on there that gets him caught up here. Let's start to freeze frame here. Try to tell who that was. So we see Bill Harkins was involved there, actually going down pit road against his own will. So that's usually never a good sign here, is it, Chris? As we see on the top side, turn 3 just gets loose from that top side, it looks like, and catches Jason Greenwell here in the 83, who I think just misses pit road. Let's actually get an onboard perspective here from Jason Greenwell's side, because that was narrowly in a version of pit road. This is, remember, onboard with Jason Greenwell, who fast in practice but started further back in qualifying, and it's like we were saying here, Chris, you never want to start far back because this is the stuff you can get caught in.
Yeah, that's just a tough break for him, and I think that kind of goes back to what I was saying a little bit earlier, how it's going to make some of these cars are going to be a little bit ill handling to start the race and throughout the race with the dirty air. It's going to be a fast-paced race tonight, but those cars that are a little bit further back in the pack, the dirty air is going to really upset them. So that kind of looks like with a little bit of that, maybe some cold tires mixed with some dirty air. But wow, that was a close call for Jason. He almost ate those yellow barrels there. That would have not been a good start to the night, but luckily he will drive on and continue forward.
He will indeed, and that'll give us a chance to talk a little bit about our new race leader, currently sitting at the front of the field alongside Cody Welch. It is the 15 car here of Christopher Hamilton. We'll scroll through the field a little bit to get you updated on where the rest of our drivers sit here. But, I mean, Christopher Hamilton, I think, has become... I know Cody Welch is the common story. I know he's the one we talk about as the always surprised that that Cody Welch hasn't won it as long as he has. But, man, Chris, you got to think that Chris Hamilton win is coming soon because he gets so close. He's been on the podium, I believe, 4 times this year. And that GFR racing team is just, they're designed for success. You know, I think it's become almost like a Penske sort of team culture. You know, Penske of IndyCar is very much a team built on success in any series they run in. They're just kind of a name synonymous with always being fast and being somebody to watch out for, where just kind of lack of ability isn't accepted. And I think GFR Racing is kind of Bandit's equivalent to Penske Racing, but similar to how Penske and IndyCar, you kind of have to win the Indy 500 to get respect on their IndyCar team. You almost wonder here, Chris, is the GFR Racing, is that win for Chris, how much do you think that'll mean for him in the overall context of the team itself?
I mean, he's done I think he's finished everywhere but in P1. So I think it'll be a good, boost of confidence for him. He seems to be very confident, and I almost wonder if the win will almost mean anything more to him, because he's just been running so well, so consistent. And he has such a good team behind him that's keeping him motivated and pushing him forward. So, I really like what I'm seeing out of him. I think that if he's probably been one of the more consistent guys all season. I know that we've seen Brett win the past couple weeks, and obviously Nick's always been a factor, and Ashley when she's here, she's running up front. But I think every single week we're talking about Christopher Hamilton, and I really like what I'm seeing out of him. And if he can just maybe turn one of those podiums into a win, I think he's going to be a problem here in the playoffs.
Well, folks, we are 5 laps down here out of 125 here tonight at Charlotte. We'll try to find a way here as again we work through some technical difficulties tonight as a follow-over from last week. We will try to find a way to get the current lap count up there, because obviously very important to know here. So, lights on the pace car still on. We're going to go around one more time. Again, we want to thank Clutch Automotive, tonight's sponsor, courtesy of Kevin Foster and the greater GFR Racing team. Remember, they are out of the West Houston area, and the link to all their services is down in the description below. If you need auto repair with a crew of over 100 years of experience, great place to go, of course, is Clutch Automotive. That being said here, folks, we want to get the conversation going here in the chat, as we're going to put up very quickly the schedule for the rest of the season with the dates updated after all of our various unfortunate cancellations and our delays here this season. This is the schedule going forward. And remember, as of next week, everything will be fixed. We will make sure that we are back to the usual Bandit Racing League broadcast quality and on all the on-screen visuals you come to expect. But there is our schedule for the rest of the year. And, well, Chris, we're going to look at the next couple of weeks. We, of course, have this week's race at Charlotte. But then on the 3rd of May, that's next Wednesday at the same time, same place, we go to Bristol Dirt, followed by Road America for the road course, New Hampshire for another very intriguing sort of oval that I know is a specialty of Cody Welch, so the Cody Welch fans should be excited for that one. Then it's Gateway and Auto Club to round off our regular season on May 31st. And that'll take us into the playoffs. Really curious, Chris, as we get ready to go here for our first restart of the night, what's a race on that list that you're looking forward to between Bristol Dirt, Road America, New Hampshire, Gateway, and Auto Club?
I mean, all of them. How do you not love any of those tracks? I think they're all going to be really exciting. I'm a New England guy, so New Hampshire's always a good one. But I really like Gateway. I think that one's going to put on some good racing for us. I don't think we've raced there in a while, so I'm looking forward to that one.
No, it's a great point. I don't think Bandit in my time has run a Gateway. To my knowledge, maybe I'm wrong on that one, but it's always fun seeing these Bandit Racing League longtime individuals. Just fun seeing them in a different setting. Seeing them in a track that maybe is not their typical expertise, and finding out who is a specialist at a track the same way that Cody Welch is a specialist at New Hampshire. That being said, bottom right now you'll have our lap counts, currently sitting at lap number 6 out of 125. Let's get going, folks. Christopher Hamilton on the pole for the restart, and Cody Welch will battle it out with Nick Nickerson, who already, after going backwards at the start, looking to start heading back forward. Mark Allen Bivens sits in 4th.
These guys just need to settle in, be patient now, get the tire temps up, roll around here, see what their cars got, see where they can make the passes, see where they're comfortable. I mean, that 15 car sure does look pretty comfortable out front right now.
Yeah, it certainly does indeed. Another really good start for Christopher Hamilton as he comes off of turn number 4. But back a little ways here is, of course, the battle we want to watch between the 85 of Cody Welch and the 2 of Nick Nickerson. It's looking like as we come down to turn number 1, really cool camera angle here, courtesy of Track Camps and Gourmets, but they are side by side through 1 and 2. It's looking like it's going to go the way of Nick Nickerson here as we come off of turn number 2. Just that outside line here. A lot of speed early on Chris, which kind of surprising considering the fresh tires. Would have thought that lower line, especially as guys burn up rubber at the beginning, would still be a little bit faster, but that top line's working for the GFR guys.
Yeah, you would think so, right? You think the bottom line is going to the shorter way around the track is going to provide, the faster lap times. But I think the top line right now with this package is going to, pay dividends throughout the the course of the run. I know that Nick's going to make a move to the inside here, but I think the 15 car is going to be blasting down this backstretch. Depends who's going to help him here. Is the 85 going to go with the 15? Sure looks like it. So we're going to see how this works out. I mean, the bottom line is definitely faster, but the top line is going to have the momentum down the straightaway, especially with these packages. This package here.
Currently got the two teammates for 785 Racing, courtesy of Benjamin Lacey and Cody Welch, sandwiched between the three GFR cars, because Kevin Foster off to a really good start here, currently sitting in 5th. And I think that's going to be the real question here, is how much can that team game come into play, and how much of this is just going to be Cody Welch soloing it, trying to find a way past these two cars of Chris and Nick, who don't seem to want to take the same line. And I think that's almost a defensive strategy here. If they can just take different lines and absolutely cut off the 85 car, he can't get in front of them, and more importantly, can't start to break away and make a lead, if indeed he is as fast as he looks here at the start.
Yeah, and I mean, look, the 85 and the 7 are looking for wins. I mean, not only would they like it for their playoff hopes, but they've both been out of victory lane for probably a lot longer than they want to be. So and pretty much anybody behind this 2 car is really hungry to get by him. And he's parking it right in that lane where he's making it impossible to get by. I think he's going to slide up in front of the 15 here, but I think the 15 is going to have momentum and he could cross him over here. But yeah, this is going to be this kind of racing. It's just being patient, getting your run, and just hoping that you can time it just right and you can pull right in front of the guy that you're trying to make a pass on.
Keep an eye here on Mark Allen Bivens, who was doing really well there at the start. Has kind of dropped back a little bit. Currently sitting down there in the 8th position behind our old pal Paul Wilson. That 86 car always seems to pop up. And there's a few names here in this shot that I want to mention. First of all, the 84, David Lakey. Really nice job there so far. Great drive. He's currently sitting in 6th after 13 laps into the race. But Connor Gibson, another good shot. That black and red 31 on your screen as everybody starts to move up, and you see the big wiggle from Kevin Foster here. We now go 3 wide as Bivens going to go down the inside of Lakey. He shuffles up into the top side. And now your top 4 currently consisting of Welch, Hamilton, and Nickerson. As a moment ago, he finally got that move done, found an opening. And Cody Welch moves to the point there and is going to lead some laps. And I mean, Chris, we didn't make race picks pre-race, but I'll give you the opportunity now. And is Cody Welch going to be one of your race picks for tonight, or are we still riding high on that no curses mindset?
Yeah, I can't curse this guy. He looks good right now, I will say that, but yeah, I'm not going to curse him. I'm really liking this 15 car. I'm not trying to curse him, but he's been really strong. His cars looked really good, and he's just had really good and strong performances as of late. So I'm going to go with this 15 car of Christopher Hamilton. Maybe it's a Chris thing. We'll call it Chris squared, but yeah, he's rolling pretty good. He was holding that top spot. He defended it from Nick. Nick just as soon as you get out of the gas on a track like this, you're going to lose momentum very quickly, as you're kind of seeing here throughout the pack. But yeah, I'm going to go with the 15 car. Who's your pick for tonight?
It's a great question. The one guy that I kind of want to highlight, who currently doesn't really seem to be making much happen, it's Brett Guzik. Brett Guzik currently sitting in the 9th spot, kind of just riding out there on his own. Fastest in practice, was good in quali, but just as we ride on board with him here, just hasn't been able to get by this kind of makeshift wall we've got going. So I was thinking him. I'm not going to go the way of Brett Guzik now, just seeing the way that the race has started. You know what? I'm going to go a little bit different. Also not a guy I want to curse because he's got a similar sort of streak going on to a couple of these guys that it's been a little while since they've had a win. But as he makes the move on the outside of Benjamin Lacey, I'm going to go Kevin Foster for tonight. Not just because he's tonight's sponsor, courtesy of Clutch Automotive, but more so just this is the track that I think will suit him. I think he's been waiting a long time. I think that hunger's there. And now he's got the teammates to help him out as currently the 2-on-1 advantage here, the 15 and the 2 attacking the 85, who still leads. But I think having that help up front, I actually think will make a difference, especially if this race continues to go green. Give me the 8 car, Kevin Foster.
Yeah, I like that pick. He's looked really strong throughout the beginning of stages of this race. And now that you're kind of seeing it here, you're starting to have not only these Fords, but you're having the GFR guys kind of linking up towards the front here. And, you know, that could be a problem, especially on a track where it's going to be hard to pass if you're parking a car in the third lane, as we were seeing earlier with the 15 and the 2. So that could be kind of a strategy or a play if we get to the later stages in the race and these guys can kind of play games. You know, kind of mess up some of their rivals on track, but yeah, that'll be interesting to see as we see the 2 car gets the point over the 85.
Yeah, back in front, another change for the lead. I believe that is going to be at least 5 or 6 here. in only the first 18 laps of the race. You see that wide shot showing every car here in the field in tonight's Clutch Automotive 125. But I'm going to cut to Paul Wilson once again. I am so impressed with what we've seen from the 86 car this year. Flies under the radar every week, but we have a crash right behind Paul Wilson. Who was that just got involved? The 51's in it. Caution comes out. 51 caught. 83 caught. Kyle Fahey in the 88 car is involved. We got Nolan Gross as well. Jason Greenwell. I called out Brett Guzik. Brett may have avoided. He has. Brett Guzik not caught in the incident. We went to Paul Wilson, and right behind Paul Wilson, the crash occurred. So that was pretty lucky timing there. But yeah, we're going to cut back here to the crash, courtesy of the Butt Kicker Racing Replay, and just see what went on there. So this is coming off a coming into turn number 1, I should say. It was Brett Guzik involved, though. It was Brett and Curtis. So let's zoom back a little bit and make sure we catch this whole incident. So remember, this is a replay coming off of turn number 4. Here's Curtis Yancey in that Bass Pro Shops car up on the high side. The 51 and the 04. 51 up high. The 04 kind of catches him. A weird moment there. I hate the term racing incident because it's the term people use when they don't want to say their favorite driver caused a crash. But I'll leave that to you, Chris. What's your take on that opinion? I think it was a good angle, the one we had, where you see Brett kind of coming up the track and Curtis holding his line. Didn't look to me like somebody was particularly at fault, but I'm curious on your take.
I think that's just a tough break, you know. As much as I'm probably one of the bigger Brett Guzik fans, but I think that's just a tough break for the both of those guys. You know, you're racing up front, probably frustrated with the way this race is going. You can't really make any passes with the package that's going on here. So I've just heard that race control is going to give him the end of line penalty. So they're deeming the 04 car as the one at fault for that incident on track. Nonetheless, I chalk it up to a racing incident. You know, guys trying to go for the same space. Looks like, according to race control's eyes, Brett was more at fault for that one there. But nonetheless, you know, first big wreck of the night. I know we had that one, 5 laps in or so. First big wreck of the night. Everybody has their fast repair. Stack them back up. I didn't think we had any takers on pit road. I think it was a little too soon for that. Tires aren't as big of a factor as they were at Atlanta the last time we were out. So, yeah, stack them back up and get them back going. I think that was starting to go. They were starting to roll pretty good there. I was liking to see the switching lanes and switching lines. Unfortunately, those two guys got tangled up there. But yeah, we'll be back, and I think another 20 laps or so, these guys are going to be wanting tires. So. Yeah, I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see the tires go away a little bit and have these cars start not behaving the way the drivers want.
One notable name that I noticed did come down pit road there was Kevin Foster, driver of the number 8 car, who still, as of right now, appears to be in the pits, but also not currently in the session. He doesn't have a connection to the broadcast right now, so hopefully that's just a weird blip. No, he's come back now, and he's going to head out of pit road and return to the racetrack there. At least he should be. Doesn't show up in. There we go. Didn't show up in the session. Now he does. So Kevin Foster will return to the track here in the 11th position, as he is currently on the lead lap, which a lot of cars actually are not. He's going to move down here into 12th position, but. Back up to the front of the field. It's the 2, it is the 85, and the lights on the pace car are off. So we're going to get ready to go here. It was a pretty quick caution period, and we were going to go right back to racing. But the 2, the 85, the 7, the 15, and then the 86 and the 76. I think that's the fun row there. Watching, it's going to be Paul Wilson alongside Mark-Allen Bivens, two guys that, again, have had the really good runs in the past, have run in the top 5, as well as Eddie Hagee should fall into that category. But just a few names that, some more dark horses here for the podium. We've had the pleasure of talking to a couple of these guys in the past. Some dark horses this season have definitely pulled off seconds and thirds so far, but I think we've really lacked that sort of surprise winner this season. That first-time winner, that big name that just maybe you don't expect, except Mike Wright. Remember all the way back there when Mike Wright was with us in the series, was very cool, but unfortunately has not been involved in the series as of late. But yeah, I think tonight we're definitely we're in the mood, or at least if you're me, for a new winner. Somebody different, somebody to kind of shake things up. Would you agree on that one, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against it. There's some guys that have been, sniffing out that first win of not only Bandit but of the season. And there's a couple of them that I'll give you my take on right after we get this green flag.
Here we go, second green flag restart here for the Clutch Automotive 125 at Charlotte. Let's get it going, folks. 2 in the 85 on the front row. Then it's the 15 and the 7 rolling off in row number 2. Good push there in the back from Eddie Hagge. You see him all the way back of Mark Allen Bivens, who just didn't seem to get going. It is 85 going to tuck into second, and the 7 of Benjamin Lacey going to dip underneath the 15 of Christopher Hamilton. Paul Wilson may go with him.
It's funny, on these restarts, you almost see like tandem drafting where these guys have their partner, their tandem partner. So, all right, let's go. We're going to stick together for these first couple laps here and kind of work their way up to speed. But yeah, speaking as those guys that have been running up front and haven't gotten a win yet, Paul Wilson, Eddie had to get that first win. David Lakey, he's been running up front. Josh McQuiggan, all these guys have been up front every single week, and they just, luck isn't going their way. So tonight could be their night. I'm certainly hoping so for one of these guys. They're definitely deserving of it, as we see the 85 car challenging the 2 for the lead.
We're definitely going to hold on this battle here for a little bit, because this is looking like a lot of fun. As just side by side, really good racing. That's what Charlotte creates. And you were talking about those tires starting to go away here as we see Benjamin Lacey underneath the 2 car. But we talk about the tires starting to go away here, Chris. Do you anticipate that we're going to start to see these 2 wide battles kind of struggling to get started, just because the guy on the inside is going to get so much push up the track that he's just got to relent to the guy on the inside?
I'd say a little bit, yeah. It's going to be a little bit harder to stay side by side as they have been, but you'll still see them get side by side. I think that's just the aero package itself. They're going to just kind of be stuck all together with as much drag as they get. The leader's not going to get as much further away than you see the 85 car right now, unless there's some kind of trouble. But yeah, as the tires go away, it's gonna make it a little bit harder. You're gonna have to use a little bit more finesse, but nonetheless, you will still see some side-by-side racing. But I think that, as you're looking further back in this pack here, you're starting to see them all kind of bunch up and bounce off each other in the corners. That's going to have to give at some point, and someone's going to the wall.
Looking here off the back bumper of the number 2 car here, currently sitting in second position there on the bottom is Benjamin Lacey, who's been on the attack for pretty long while now. But Cody Welch, finally, we're starting to see somebody settle into a good lead here. That 85 car has gone unchallenged here for about 2 laps. And again, Benjamin Lacey, impressive the way he's able to stick down there. But here comes Mark Allen Bivens. That 76 car, Bivens got by that is the number 15 of Christopher Hamilton. So he did get past the other GFR car. Now finds himself in the equation. That 76 car is always a threat here, and he almost won this race at Charlotte a few seasons back. Don't forget, I think it was last season in Season 10 of the Bandit Racing League, after winning the season opener at Daytona. Then went on here at Charlotte to have a great run at the end where he almost got by eventual winner. I believe it was Benjamin Lacey, if I'm not mistaken. He almost got it done here, so I wouldn't be surprised. Don't count out that 76 car just yet. And he's really falling into a good rhythm here, Chris. That's the part I'm impressed about. Not only is he fast, but he's kind of found his little niche here. As Dawson Guzik, that 44 car, different face up here at the front, is a lap down, just trying to stay on the lead lap. But he is on the lead lap here. The 44 car, Dawson Guzik up here in 5th. In my telemetry, he was behind for a lap, and now he's jumped ahead. There's somebody we don't see in the top 5 too often, but a longtime friend of the channel. And great drive so far from the 44 car. Yeah,
I've been kind of watching him pick his way through the pack here. I think he's definitely on tires.
Big move, 3 wide. Oh, he's going to get loose. Catches Bivens. No. Oh, the commentator's curse is the worst thing in racing. Holy cow.
He was on tires. He was rolling really good there. I was about to highlight that. But, that's a tough one there.
This one's easy to cover, courtesy of the Butt Kicker Racing replay, because we saw that entire thing happen live. That was, oh man, these are the moments I don't like this job. Off of turn number 4, you see here, Dawson Guzik just catches with Mark Allen Bivens. That great move 3 wide was worth the price of admission alone. I saw in the background. I was kind of thinking, okay, no way he goes for it. I wasn't sure, thought maybe he was on new tires, but let's watch here from the perspective of Dawson Guzik. Just incredible move there for a moment. You're going to see the gap here open up. You see the 76 goes low, 2 goes high, finds the middle. Really good run, clears Nick, and then just gets loose. You can see the back end get light. He kind of washes up into Bivens, and actually the gyro camera here, this is something different. We're going to jump away from this camera because that's very jarring to watch, but Mark Allen Bivens managed to keep going. The 76 car, minimal damage, but what a cool move there, Chris. I'm really glad that that almost happened, even if unfortunately it resulted in that big incident.
No, you're on the right track. He was flying. He had a lot of speed. coming up through the pack there. I think I saw him restart like somewhere like 12th to 13th. But yeah, he was coming up through there. He was on tires. I think that kind of showed you the benefit of tires at that point in the run there, and I think that's kind of why everybody said, okay, it's time to put on some tires here. So, yeah, I mean, that's a tough one, but I believe Pete does have his fast repair, and he'll be back. He'll cycle back out here and get himself back up running again, and hopefully you can show that speed later on in the race and make the move stick without putting the car on its lid. So, hopefully Dawson gets back up here. But yeah, I'm ready to go back racing now. Starting to shape up pretty good.
Big winner here on pit road. Going to be the 76 car of Mark Allen Bivens. Going to be the first one off. Not sure if he took 2 tires or 4, but narrowly beat out Cody Welch, who will roll off after Benjamin Lacey, actually. Going to park himself in the middle of this group. So really, really cool to watch that pit road battle. Could have way out there from the further back perspective. That's kind of going to be one benefit of the tech issues we're having tonight, and the little bit of a more primitive broadcast style, is it gives more opportunity to check out some cameras. And yeah, again, courtesy as always of Track Hamster Gourmets, gives us a different perspective and a different way to look at the racing. But as far as my telemetry, it's going to be telling me that Benjamin Lacey is your race leader, which does not appear to be right. There we go. We've now corrected ourselves, and it's going to be Bill Harkins and Kyle Fahey at the front in 1 and 2, but of course both drivers did not pit here. Bill Harkins running on 12-lap-old tires and 11 laps old for Kyle Fahey. Although I will say, Chris, that's not a crazy long period of time. That's actually rather reasonable, and I think there's a decent chance that maybe these guys, maybe if not for super long into the run, but can definitely keep up and hold their own, I would say, for a few laps at least.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I'm going to be curious to see how that all factors out there. But one thing that has come to my attention here, which is kind of odd to me, but not only has Joshua McQuiggan disconnected from the server, but Nick Nickerson has well. So
oh my goodness.
2 big names tonight have disconnected tonight. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I still see Nick Nickerson up here in the chat, but yeah, that's a big storyline to shake it up midway in the race. We have some of our bigger names in the league dropping out for tonight for some undisclosed reasons. So we'll have to keep you posted on that one, but they seem to be not a factor tonight.
Yeah, big news for the pole sitter to be gone.
If I'm one of the competitors in the race, I'm like, oh, that's one less guy I have to compete with up front. So, I'm kind of excited for that if I'm a Cody Welch or a Benjamin Lacey fan.
And many of you are, so keep it tuned here if no other reason than for that. Clutch Automotive 125, we are on the restart here, and Bill Harkins calls the top line and gets it to work. Good run, but Benjamin Lacey, holy cow. I don't know if that was just he had more power or if he had more traction, but oh my goodness, he flew by there. That 7 car, Benjamin Lacey, is rolling, and Bill Harkinson is getting tangled up a little bit with Paul Wilson as the 86 car going to dip down that middle lane, and now Kyle Fahey getting a push from Mark Allen Bivens for second.
Yeah, if you're Bill Harkins here, just hang on, hold a steady wheel, and let this pack of cars get by you. But yeah, that's a tough break for him as he's just hanging on for dear life there, and everybody's stacking up behind him. The 7 car, wow, he must be breathing a huge sigh of relief as he has.
Continues between Bivens and the 86 car of Paul Wilson, but just crazy racing right here off the bat at the start of this stint, and now we're really starting to shape up. So it's Lacey up front, then Wilson, Bivens, Hamilton, and Yancey, your top 5 with Cody Welch and Bill Harkins, rounding off your top 7 with Haggy in 8th, and Lakey and Fahey. Kyle Fahey now falling down from starting up there at the front of the field, 11-lap-old tires, but he's still holding himself in the top 10.
I mean, it's certainly working out at this point, that you're seeing them drop back from their starting position, but they're holding their own now a little bit at the later stages of the top 10. So if they can kind of hang on to that, I mean, I think that would be a successful kind of pit maneuver there, jumping up on the leaderboard there. So I think if they can just hang on for a little bit longer, that would work out for them. But the 7 car had such a large lead there. This just kind of speaks to the package. I think he had a 2.5 lead, but just with the way this package is set up, the 86 car is now all over the back bumper of that 7 car looking to get to the point here. But yeah, the package just shows you cannot run away at this track.
No, here he comes. Yeah, Paul Wilson going to take over the race lead there as the 51 car coming up to pass the inverted numbered 15 car for the 3rd position. So looking at the back of the field, you see it there at the end of your leaderboard up top. Yes, Nick Nickerson, Joshua McQuiggan, and Dawson Guzik have all left the session. Dawson was running really well there prior to that wreck. Really sad to see his night end the way it did. But lap 37 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and your top 4 and now top 5 really starting to line up. And this is what we've seen here, Chris. You alluded to it a moment ago, but the package, this is what this package in the Cup car this season has created here on iRacing. These really close packs and guys starting to get stacked up. So as we see us get more single file and your top 10 becomes a little bit more consistent here. As we see Benjamin Lacey now going to dip down below. We'll keep an eye here on this. But what do you do here if you're one of these cars in the front pack? If it was you, Chris, and you know how hard it is to break away from these guys behind you, and you know how the pack's just going to keep you guys running close, what's the benefit to these big passes here? What should the strategy be if we're going to go green here for a while? As we see Curtis Yancey trying to make the move.
I mean, I guess the only benefit would be to lead a lap and get your point, and hopefully you can just lead and stay up there. But you know, if I was this pack of the first 10, let's all just hang out, just draft and get around here and just hang tight. And then as the pit cycles go, as we get a little bit later into the race, then start making those bigger moves. But for right now, I would just ride around. I'd be content with either sitting 1st or 10th right now, and just making it towards this next pit stop.
Just want to again highlight Eddie Haggy, how good of a job he's done here tonight, as we see he going side by side with Welch. Whoa, here we go, 3 wide. Turn number 3. Can Welch get the car to stick? Really has to whoa it up there to get it around. Yeah, just didn't get the drive in on the corner he wanted because he was so far down the line. Here comes Greenwell, the 83 car. He's into the 76. 76 of Bivens goes around. Caution comes out again. He catches Ramos. The 27 car of Michael Ramos absolutely lambastes the back left quarter panel of Mark Allen Bivens. And just like that, Chris, caution number 3 comes out. And once again, it is Mark Allen Bivens involved.
Yeah, man, at least we've had the camera on the wrecks for the most part tonight. But, yeah, that's a tough one. I think it's the package, it's the track, it's just the type of racing that we have tonight. It's you're coming off 3 wide, and that's just what's going to happen. There's not much you can do. The car just came around on him, and you're along for the ride.
Actually impressed Michael Ramos managed to keep it on the track there, as you see, and gets himself back up to speed. We're going to watch one more time here from the perspective of Jason Greenwell, who's had kind of a busy night here tonight. We're going to go to his gyro camera perspective here. Watch from his onboard. He's up high, gets that great run as the 76 and the 85 car have to check up. But the 76, I think, just a little bit higher than he was expecting. Wasn't a ton of room there. Great job, though. Watch the save here as the 83 car keeps his hands moving, and Jason Greenwell keeps it on track, sits as we speak live in the 8th position. So really good job there. Now he moves up to 7th. There you go. Gonna get another extra spot there. Just crazy stuff here tonight, Chris, and some good saves already. We're 42 laps in, and all the main contenders, at least the ones who haven't had disconnect issues, still in the race.
Yeah, it's been a great race as long as you've been able to stay connected. But it sounds like the 83 car will be getting the EOL, the end of line penalty for that. I don't think he's super excited about that one, and I don't think he agrees with that one too much. But nonetheless, he'll be getting the end of line penalty. But he does look super quick, and I'm expecting to see him back up here. I think that it actually is going to work out for him anyway. I think he should probably just pit and see if he has any damage to the car and get that fixed up, because aero is very important on this track. As you can see, the cars are very aero sensitive. So get the car tuned up, get back out there, take your penalty, and just drive back up there. He has the speed to do it, so expect to see him back up there. But I think that'll work out in his favor.
I am surprised to see the penalty fall that way, but you never know. They always have a different perspective than us, and here on the broadcast, we are unfortunately sometimes limited by how much time we have to really analyze an incident. But our awesome team up there in the booth, or not in our booth, but in the whatever you want to call it, the Bandit Racing League on-site sim trailer, or wherever our virtual staff here in the Bandit Racing League are housed. Our race control, our specialists here are always trying to make the right calls and do the best they can. So hopefully the calls tonight are going to be better than the NHL's refereeing, which is going to be our first reference of the night. For those of you watching hockey, I know that's a Canadian thing. I don't. For those of you Americans that may not know, hockey is a sport you play on ice with a stick, but Yeah, truly terrible refereeing, I just want to say, here in the NHL this season. And luckily, we have a better crew that volunteers every Wednesday, once a week, despite not being paid what those NHL refs do. All I'm saying is that we have the best referees here in the world, here in the Bandit Racing League. And if they were free for more weeks, more days of the week, then I'm sure they would be doing the NHL playoffs. But truly embarrassing, some of those calls we're seeing in the NHL. Truly disrespectful, I gotta say.
I'll agree with you. I mean, I'm a Bruins fan, so I can't complain about much.
No.
But yeah, but yeah, no, I'll agree with you. Playoff hockey has been weird with the refs this year. So, what isn't weird is to see some of these guys up front tonight. The 7 car, he's been up front all season. He hasn't been able to quite put it together. The 51 car has probably been one of the more consistent cars throughout the season. The past couple weeks, that 86 car has been up front. 15 car, I highlighted it earlier. He has been super quick, and he's been up front every single week. And the 97 car, he's got a little bit of damage on that car, but he's been running really good as of late, and I really hope that he can bring home a solid finish. I know he's had a couple top 10s this season. I'd really like to see him up there in the top 5, maybe even a podium. But hopefully he can put it together. And a lot of these guys they've been up front, but I was saying this earlier. Nick Nickerson, unfortunately, isn't going to be able to finish the rest of the race. He won't be here for the rest of the race. There's a couple big names that aren't in the show for the rest of the night. So if I'm some of these guys, I'm saying this is a great opportunity for me to make up some points, run up front, and contend for a win. One of the bigger names, the ones that is contending each and every week, is not in the race right now. So someone's got to fill that void, and why can't it be you? So that's what I'd be telling myself. So I'm hoping to see if these guys can kind of channel that same kind of energy and put together a good finish here tonight.
We're just a few laps away, or a few moments away here, I should say, from going green as the lights on the pace car are off here on the restart. I have a little game I want to play here tonight, as he currently sits in the 6th position there, very much in contention tonight. We know there's always a lot of Cody Welch fans watching the broadcast, and I'm going to put it out there to you guys in the chat we can agree upon as the biggest Cody Welch fan will be the first one that I mentioned in the broadcast interview with him the day he finally does win. So we don't have much competition here in the chat. We don't like to start hateful comments, but I want to start pitting those Cody Welch fans against each other, because I think that would be fun, and I know there's a lot of you out there. So which one of you would be most excited for a potential Cody win, especially with Nick out of the equation? But before we get to that, his teammate has to take us to green, and he's going to. Benjamin Lacey in the 7, the 51 Yancey, get us going into turn number 2. It's already going to be Paul Wilson dropping back one spot and potentially losing out to Eddie Hagee here, trying to set the inside.
Yeah, really surprising to see that 97 car rolling so good right now. Like I said, he had the damage, but look at the run on this 85 car. Is going to come down this backstretch looking like a rocket ship. But yeah, the 7 car, really good restart with the 51 right out back. If I had those two guys, I guess not. Let me just forget what I was about to say. I would just hang out with those 2 cars together, but 51 car decided to go for the lead there, which is not surprising. He's probably one of the more aggressive drivers in the league, and I mean, it shows. He's definitely had the victories to back it up. So yeah, we'll see how this all plays out. I was hoping to see if these guys can try and break away, but here comes the rest of the pack, and they're going to be there any moment now, knocking on the door for that top spot.
I mean, yeah, we know the package we're racing with here. If guys are looking for big gaps to start forming up between them and other cars, they are in the wrong place. It's just been the story of the season, really. All these races have come down to close battles all the way throughout. How guys have been able to work with pack management, picking the right lines, and just settling into a groove. And if you can't get like a 2 to 2.5 second lead, you're just flat out not gonna break away like that. So here we go, back into a single file line, and it's going to be a lot of side drafting necessary to move up here if you're a guy like a Cody Welch here on the inside line running a little bit off kilter, or like a Connor Gibson there, that 31 car sitting currently in the 8th position. He was trying to get a side draft on Christopher Hamilton, didn't work, and now he finds himself sitting in sole possession of 8th place.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to me to see some of these guys take the runs that they're taking. A lot of times you're going to have a run going in the corner, and there's not much you can really do with it. You kind of just have to let it go. It's right there. You could probably stick your nose in there and try to get the pass done, but it's not quite going to be enough. Yeah, it's interesting to see what these guys are doing with the runs. A lot of them, you can't really do much with them. Some of them are just taking it and seeing if it will stick, which is where I think we're seeing some of these wrecks happening. But yeah, I'm just watching the 97 car work behind the 51, and he keeps pulling up to him, but he knows there's nowhere to go, so he has to just back off and kind of settle in. So have to keep our eye on that as the tires progress. As we see him, he gets right to the outside. He has the air, the clean air, but there's nothing more he can do. He just has to kind of coast.
Yeah, really, really trying, though. He's trying to find those openings, and Curtis is giving them to him. You see here as Eddie goes to the top side, the two guys in front of him duck low. And now Brett Guzik here getting a really good run. He could be the main beneficiary of this sort of mid-pack battle here to get in the top of the top five. Try it on Paul Wilson. May not work out. Cody trying to find an opening, too. You can see the 85 car quickly dips underneath here up to the entry of turn number 3 and then backs out once we get him up here. So interesting watching these guys kind of maneuver around and try to game their way up forward. Let's look back a little bit here in the 02 car. Gross, who is narrowly ahead of Ricky Hart Jr. and behind the 10 of Matt Crocker. This is currently battle for the 12th position. And just great to watch these guys as we see Cody Welch quickly. Going to go for the 3 wide here. We go down to turn number 3. It becomes a 2 wide here, actually, as the 04 car going to drop out. His 85 car, it looked like on the way in he was going to comfortably get by the 04 car. Now doesn't have the run in the middle of the corner, especially on older tires. Has to back out, but back to the battle we were talking about. Hunter Henry there in the 9 car, ahead of the 84 in the 10, with Nolan Gross now slotting in behind the 1 of Ricky Hart Jr. So not a ton of forward movement for some of these guys. Looks like guys can maybe get a spot here and there, but looks like a lot of pass attempts that just don't come to fruition here, Chris. And I'm still trying to figure out the formula for a successful pass here. I don't know if the drivers have particularly, but nobody seems to be really making a ton of forward progress.
Yeah, when NASCAR put this package together, designed to kind of keep all the cars nice and close together, and their hope was that they would be able to pass. But now it's just like you're running the car flat out constantly, and there's no real opportunity for the car to slip up or make a mistake. The only real mistake or the only real opportunity you have is if someone is going to lose momentum. How they're going to lose momentum is if someone's checking up in front of them or they're about to spin out. So it doesn't happen that often. I mean, especially if you're the leader, you can just hold it flat out and just be in front of the guy that's behind you. So it does make for some, I would say, some more boring racing, but it could also make for some exciting racing at the same time. But we're just kind of seeing that where tires are kind of wearing in. You know, Benjamin has a nice gap that he's able to manage. And these guys are just trying to figure out a way to get to the back of them, but it's so tough with the way the air is. So we're going to be coming for some pit stops here, and I think about the next 10 to 15 laps.
How old these tires are, and just guys exactly trying to hold on and get through it. As the 85 car, really big pass there on the 97. Surprised that car stuck as well as it did, but Cody Welch going to move up here back into the top 5 as he dropped down as far as 8th a moment ago. Starting to move his way back forward. 2 passes in 1 lap. It's Jackson Knock here, new face in the top 6. Jackson Knock going to get the move done here on the 97 of Eddie Haggy. He's starting to move back forward. The momentum just going every which way now as Knock gets himself involved. Very quickly, want to shout out an idea that Nick Nickerson just had here in the YouTube chat. Would absolutely love to hear how you guys know each driver here in the Bandit Racing League. It would be really cool if everybody in the chat just mentioned, you know, what's your connection to the driver you come here to support, and particularly who are you here to support? Always good to know if certain drivers have certain support sections here on the YouTube broadcast, and we always like to let them know in the interviews. But here we go again. That battle we saw here a moment ago between Brett Guzik and Paul Wilson shaping up, and more specifically, how Cody Welch's forward progress is shaping up, because now he's into 4th as the timing tower updates. Knock up into 5th, Foster up into 6th. That is Paul Wilson down here into the 7th position.
Good old Nick Nickerson is coming up with great ideas, whether he's on the track or off of it. But, I mean, just kind of speak of the momentum that you're talking about. You know, Eddie Haggy was just sitting 3rd about a handful of laps ago. Now he's fallen back to 10th. And not only is it the tires that are probably falling off for him, but it's the momentum. This kind of package, this kind of racing is all about keeping that momentum and staying in the throttle. And, you know, once the car's upset and you can't stay full throttle basically the entire time, you're gonna drop like a rock. And you're seeing that here with Eddie Haggy. Really strong car, really good performance throughout the beginning stage of this race, but now as the tires are wearing off, he hasn't been able to maintain that kind of speed that he's had when he was up front. The further back in the pack he's going to go, the worse the car is going to handle, and it's going to keep on compounding on itself. So that's going to be a driver that is going to be probably one of the first ones on pit road when it comes time to pit.
Looking here back at the top 10 there, you see as Eddie Haggy has now fallen out of said top 10 into the 11th position. we're starting to see guys really settle in here up front. That front pack of it's Lacey, Yancey, Guzik, Knock, and Welch kind of starting to break. And Kevin Foster as well. Really starting to get some good momentum here. They now lead by 0.8 over that next pack. And Kevin Foster is back in it. We talked about the issues he had earlier where he was in pit road for a while. I thought he had an internet connectivity issue, but he's fought back to be back in the equation. And a rep in Clutch Automotive, you see the logo there on the hood. It would be great to see another, I think it would be the second sponsored race win of the year. I believe we had one earlier this year from Brett Guzik. But right now, just a really, really great job here from Kevin Foster to get himself back in the equation, settles into that comfortable spot here at the end of the pack. And it's like we were talking about earlier, where when the racing gets this close, as we see Jackson Knock just got the move done on Curtis Yancey. Great race again from Knock. But yeah, as you see guys get this close in this package especially, being in 6th right now is just as good as being in 1st. And arguably, as we see Cody Welch going to give up another spot here to Kevin Foster, still in that front pack, though. At a certain point, would you almost not rather be in 6th position now, just kind of chilling out at the back, no pressure from behind, than a guy like maybe Jackson Knock, who has the 51 car all over them, battling for a spot that, in the grand scheme of things, may not mean quite as much as just being up here in the front pack?
Well, as much as I'd like to agree with you, this is the way I'm kind of looking at it right now. In our top 10 right now, there's only one person that's won, and that's Brett Guzik, who's won them back-to-back, the last couple times. So all of these guys are very hungry for a win. All of these guys are very hungry to get to that lead position there. So that being said, I don't think that anybody's going to be holding back. While I would say, yeah, I would be content with being in Cody Welch's position right now, being so close to the leader, just kind of riding around. Cody Welch is not content with that. I know he wants to get back to the point. He wants to lead as many laps as he can and lead the last lap of this race. So, yeah, that's just kind of the way the season's starting to shake up, right? We're getting closer and closer to the playoffs, and I know that the desperation is kind of starting to ramp up there. So, yeah, these guys are hungry, and I think that, they're going to put on the pressure on the leader like it is the last lap of the race. As you see the 00 car going for the lead here.
Yes, indeed. Here he comes, trying to make a really good shot there. But it's fascinating to see how he may have led so far here by Benjamin Lacey this entire stint, but that gap, it looks like, has not really changed. At any point here, as we see Cody Welch starting to break away from then Guzik, who's in behind, and Guzik leaves the strap pack here in a moment as he's now dropped back about a full 6/10 from Cody Welch. But we are at the halfway point in tonight's race, 62 laps to go here out of 125. And right now, the dominant car in this portion of the race has been the 7, but here comes the 00. Jackson Knock has his opportunity, could lead. I believe would be the first, maybe second time all season. Jackson Knock, though, can that car stick? Can the OxyClean 00 get it done? He's almost got it. Is he going to slide up off a 2? No, he's not. We're going to fight back in turn number 3. Really good battle coming here. That was an awful camera angle. There we go. 00 down to the bottom side. He's close, but just can't clear him. And I think here, Chris, with how dominant that top line has been, especially this stint for Benjamin Lacey, this 00 has got to get up in front of him and get to that high line to have officially made the pass.
Yeah, I think later in the run, you're going to see that it's going to be so hard to pass somebody on older tires on the bottom, because the top line is going to have so much momentum. And this is, like I said, this is all about the momentum that you can carry. That top line is going to carry a lot of momentum down the straightaways and be able to kind of fight back and fight off that pass on the bottom. But yeah, if you can just get just ahead of the 7 car and just clear right in front of him, not only will he put the air as he's going to try and do it here.
So close.
Yeah, not quite as close as he needed to, but look at what this is doing. No one's put pressure on the 7 car this entire run here up until this point. I think he's going to get him this time around, maybe. Yeah, no one's put. Caution is out.
Oh, just as he gets him too. Jackson Knock, new race leader, and he'll get to keep it. Caution is indeed out. Connor Gibson looking like he was one of the cars involved. Let's go back to the replay here. Yes, 31 and 97. Going to be the 2 cars here caught in this wreck. Off of turn number 4, here he comes. 31 gets into the outside wall, catches Haggy, gets loose and just can't save it. Knocks the 91 below the line. Although I will say here, Chris, as far as 2-car wrecks go, very little damage from what I can tell. It looks like those guys should be able to get back up to speed and not have any further troubles throughout this race.
Yeah, that was a very tidy wreck there. So kudos to those guys. Those guys should just be able to keep that thing rolling. Maybe just go hit pit road, sit there for a minute, and not even have to use a fast period if they got it. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with them. I mean, as I was saying earlier, the 97 he's been running really well, and he just hasn't seemed to have the luck on his side. So hopefully he can get it fixed up and get back up front here. But this is a very timely caution. They were going to probably pit within the next 15 laps or so, 10 to 15 laps. But you should see everybody come down pit road here, put some tires on, grab some fuel, see who's going to win the battle off of pit road. But yeah, that's a very timely caution as we're going to stack them back up for the second half of this race. I'm liking what I was seeing there out of the 00 car. That was later in the run, and he was able to charge his way through, the top 10 and get back up to the point there. So I'm liking to see the speed out of him. He was able to conserve his tires really well. But we're basically hitting the reset button. It would have been cool to see a green flag stop and see how they all kind of blended back out onto the track, but we're hitting the reset button. We're going to stack them back up, and let's see who wins the battle off pit road.
Well, indeed, here we come. Who is going to win? It's going to be Knock comfortably. The 00 going to get out in front of the 7, and I think it was the 8 car here of Kevin Foster as we watched the race off of pit road. Here comes Lacey. It's going to take a moment here to update. We'll just make sure we get it right for you. The 7 car, then the 8 of Kevin Foster. Behind him is the 85 of Cody Welch, going to come out 4th off pit road. 51 car of Curtis Yancey will make it 5th. And then after that, it's a little bit of a gap back. So we will take a moment here and wait for everybody to tuck up to the back of the field. But folks, we actually have a driver name graphic here, as I've been able to put together here in the background here for a moment. So that'll make it a little bit easier here to identify the car that we're looking at here, the principal car in each little shot. So hopefully that'll enhance tonight's racing. But here we go, new leader as kind of one of the typical. We always have a couple guys do this in the course of the race, but they'll stay out here during a caution, take the bonus point for leading a lap, and then they'll immediately come down pit road. And Conda's going to wait a lap. Not going to do it this time, but you got to think, I got to come down pit road here one of these laps, because he is currently on 28 lap old tires. And 28 laps, not typically a very long time, but it is an eternity here at Charlotte as far as tire wear, as we saw guys like Dawson Guzik before on fresh tires absolutely destroying the field.
Yeah, I don't foresee the 32 car staying out here. However, we did see that. I believe that I was at Dover, and we saw what that kind of happened there. Made a big old wreck. But I think that he should be ducking down here. If not, I'm assuming he's gonna give up the lead pretty quickly. But everybody on fresher tires is gonna be passing him like he is standing still. So I'm expecting to see him come down pit road here. But another car that's running really well tonight. Been kind of quiet all night. Been in the top 5 all night long. Is the 8 car of Kevin Foster. The sponsor of tonight's race is on his car as well. So it's good to see him up front, representing the sponsor of tonight's race, and good to see him up front in general. He's a guy that's dominated in this series before, and he's a name that you expect to see up front. So hasn't had that luck as of late, but it's good to see him back, and hopefully he can kind of finish the night up there, and maybe we can get a nice interview with him on his sponsorship night.
I just want to say sorry to all the Red Wings fans in the chat. Seems like there's a lot of Detroit Red Wings fans in support, particularly of Cody Welch tonight. And unfortunately, Oof. Red Wings fans, unlike the Bruins there for Chris, and I'm a San Jose Sharks fan of all things up here in the States, so even less to do for me unless we get the first overall pick. But I know, as a Toronto fan, I should be excited for the Leafs to make it past the first round in the first time since, I don't know. I don't know what. Well, I think it's 2006 the last time the Leafs made it out of the first round. I don't particularly remember, but I should care for Toronto. But at least we're in the playoffs, unfortunately. So sorry, Red Wings fans, for that. That is tragic to hear. But
we'll have some interesting commentary next week, I think, because it looks like we're going to be going against each other here.
Ooh, that's calm down there, Chris. It is the Leafs. Let's not forget. Yeah, we could be, but also it's, you know how this goes. This isn't the first time the Leafs have been one win away from making it to the next round of the playoffs, and I don't know. I'm hopeful. I'm not really a Leafs fan, but you live in the city of Toronto right now, and it's palpable. Everybody's so excited. You can be 20 minutes away from the spot in downtown where all the Leafs fans watch outside our stadium here, and you can hear them from all around the city. So that's exciting. But that being said, we got racing to focus on here first, and Terry Condis, he's going to try it. So Terry Condis is going to lead us to green here. I desperately hope we don't recreate the Dover situation. I totally forgot that incident, but I'm glad you reminded me, Chris. Let's hope we don't, but it's a Terry Condis and Jackson Knock front row. Fun to see. Then the 7 and the 8 car. Row number 2, here we go. What can he do? Terry Condis going to lead the field to green. How's the jump look? It looks great. He is flying. 32 car, green flag for the 5th restart of tonight's race here in the Clutch Automotive 125 at Charlotte. He is off. It's Condis, Knock, and Lacey getting a good start here. The 7 car down below the 00, and we'll get the 32 as everybody tries to charge by the 32 car, whose tires just did not stick on the exit.
I hope that everybody's communicating really well right now, because that is about to make a bit of a mess if they're not communicating about this 32 car. But great start for him. I mean, he did his job perfectly. He led his laps. He started the race, and now he can kind of do his own thing. But that has, allowed the 51 car here to get to the point. It was the 7 car for a second, but yeah, we're kind of back to business as usual up front, as we're seeing the 51, the 7, the 85, and the 00 all back, trying to get back to that point.
Yeah, Curtis Yancey now just going to fly away there off the exit of the corner. Looks like there's a lot of traction right now for that 51 car really sticking here. He's always been good here on the short runs. The question is, can Benjamin Lacey, who's usually more of a long run specialist, can he really get back in the saddle and try to start making some headway towards Curtis Yancey here? He's doing pretty well here off the corner exits, but it's going to be a case of focusing his attention forward rather than on his teammate behind. But I think that's going to be one benefit of not only having a bit of gap, as Michael Ramos goes side by side here for the 5th position with Jackson Aki. He's going to get that pass done, so Michael Ramos up here into the next spot after the podium positions. But yeah, I think it's going to be a case of that security a little bit for Benjamin Lacey. Having his teammate Cody Welch behind him rather than somebody else may make him a little bit more comfortable here to just focus ahead, try to get ahead of Curtis Yancey, and maybe for the 785 Racing guys, try to control the race from the point.
Yeah, I would say that's certainly going to give you a little bit more of a relaxed kind of mindset there. But, at the end of the day, like I was saying, as of right now, from the top 7 up, no one's won yet this season. And these guys are hungry. So I don't think that regardless of where your teammate is, when it comes down to the end of the race, it doesn't matter. I think that the 85 car will put the bumper to the 7 car. The 7 car will put the bumper to the 85 car. I don't think the 7 car would have very many fans after that, but nonetheless, when it comes down to the end here, everybody knows it's time to go. And we're getting towards that point as we're getting closer and closer to the end of this race.
One guy's trying to keep himself in the action here, trying to stay exciting, racing a fellow young upstart driver of the series. Mark Allen Bivens going alongside Jackson Knock. He's really trying to settle back into his groove there as he currently sits on the high side of the 00. Going to get a good run off the corner. Will have the slipstream down the backstretch. Just don't know if he'll be able to make that move. He does get it this time, and now he's going to go under Paul Wilson as well. Make it 2-1 for the 76 car as he tries to work his way up here as Michael Ramos has gotten by Cody Welch here for the 3rd spot. And remember, I talked about before, Michael Ramos, former pole sitter here at Charlotte, don't forget, back in Season 9 of the Bandit Racing League. He knows what it takes to have really good pace here, and now he's trying to track down that 7 car. So just like I was talking about, that security that Lacey had with Welch behind him is now gone, and now he's got to focus on both defending from behind and working his way up to Curtis Yancey, who continues to sit a comfortable 4/10 ahead of 2nd place.
Yeah, unfortunately there, having his teammate behind him didn't necessarily work out for his teammate, actually. They both went for the same set of real estate. They both went to the bottom going into, I believe it was turn 1 at the time. And the 85 car had to kind of check up. That checked up that whole pack. That's where you saw the 27 car of Ramos get by the 85, and you saw Bivens make that pass on the 00. So that's just kind of the effect of this kind of package. Is once somebody lifts, it's going to stack everybody up. It's like stomping on the brakes at Daytona. So, yeah, that's kind of how that played out. But you've kind of seen this shift here now as the 7 car is caught right back up to the 51.
He has indeed. Really good lap there from Benjamin Lacey. That last time by, he was a full 2/10 faster, running a 30.243 as opposed to the 30.411 of Curtis Yancey. Very quickly, to give a little bit of context, there at the top of the screen, you see on the leaderboard next to the live time, you see that negative number with the seconds next to it ticking down. Those two numbers next to it, for context, are the fastest lap of the race for each driver. So it's a 29.629 in the case of Curtis, as we see the move potentially here on the high side. And the number to the right of that, to point out, is their last lap time. So watch a 30.519, and as you can see there in very small writing, a 30.454 there for Lacey. So he was fast once again, just to give you guys a little bit of context for what you can see and how you can use to help tell how fast your favorite drivers are. But yeah, is this the move here? Lacey up high again. Really good run there off of 2. Gets up to the high side. He's been comfortable there all race. I think that pass is done. Yes, it is. 7 car, your new race leader.
Yeah, and what that side-by-side racing, what that does is bring him right back to everybody else. So here comes the 85 trying to put his nose in there and put his 2 cents in and say, I'm here too.
Yeah, you can never really forget that the 85 car is sticking around. If he's up there in the top 5, he's always doing something. He's never really a guy that just settles into a spot. He's either going forward or he's going backward. And right now, he is going forward once again. But we have a caution here, ladies and gentlemen. Number 6 of the night. It's looking like it's going to be David Lakey off the pace. Yeah, gets turned here off the front nose of Eddie Haggy, would appear. Slides up the curbing on the inside of turn number 1 up the bank and perfectly locks the wheels up, and the car just slides its way down. Now let's go back one more time to see the way that got kicked off here. Another weird sort of typical racing deal here. It's the tri-oval. It's the very defined kind of triangular shape of the end of the tri-oval that I think can create some of these moments where just one guy is moving up to the top side of the banking and one guy makes that sharp exit off the turn here in the tri-oval and just bumps into another. Again, curious as always to get your take on that one, Chris.
Yeah, I kind of think that's exactly at the tri-oval. It just makes it tough to judge sometimes, especially if you have a run. But I will say that that was a pretty nice, tidy wreck. I think that both those cars should be okay. Probably come down here, get some quick repairs done. Not necessarily use their fast repair, but just kind of sit there in the pit, have the pit crew work on it, and get back out on the track. But yeah, I mean the commentator's curse is as real as it gets. I mean, I was just talking about how well those guys are doing tonight and how strong they were looking all night, and here we are. They're both involved in a yellow there. So, yeah, I'm not going to talk well about anybody. Everybody is not doing well tonight. I think that everybody could do a lot better. So that's how we're going to do that.
Yeah, even Benjamin Lacey, who's been leading for a while, horrible race. I think the guy
horrible performance.
Yeah, guy's a faker. Guy's not going anywhere. Doesn't look like he's in a good spot. I know you may think he is, but we have more insight up here on the broadcast because clearly we have magical powers that neither Chris nor I understand. That being said, on a lighter note here, we're going to talk a little bit about the Bandit Racing League website, which is about the I don't even have a transition for that one like I've been doing with sponsors this year. It's one of those nights. We just want to talk about the Bandit Racing League website. One of my favorite places here on the within the entire microcosm of the series, your place for all things Bandit Racing League, whether it be accessing our schedule on Sim Racer Hub to know where we're going to be each and every week, and who's won the past races. If you want stats, that's your place to go. If you want info on each and every driver in the series and what their paint scheme and what the team they run for, just a little bit of info about your favorite driver or their teammates, that's a great place to go for that. If you want to go find out about our sponsors like Apex Sim Racing, your place for all things accessories like pedals, wheelbases, sim decks, stuff for button boxes and everything like that. Great place to go is Apex Sim Racing, and it also gives you links and countdowns to all of our racing broadcasts, as well as to our awesome social media like our Instagram, where you can get weekly updates and posts about the series before each and every race. As well, we also want to talk about Geezer Authentics. Geezer Authentics is the Bandit Racing League brand for all things merchandise. If you want to get some stuff, some awesome merch to represent the series and your love for what we do here on the Full Send Racing Network broadcast of the Bandit Racing League, that's a great way to support the series as a whole. You want a Kevin Foster or Clutch Automotive t-shirt like this week's sponsor, that's where you go. If you want our sweet logo on a sweater, a hoodie, a t-shirt, some pants, a hat of both snapback and baseball cap variety, if you want a wall hanging, you want a mug, it'd be faster if I listed the things we don't have on Bandit Racing League's GeezerAuthentics.com. Everything you could look for in a variety of colors and prices that aren't just Canadian. Basically, take the Canadian price you see on your screen now, bump 20% off it. That's the price in American. Really good prices, low cost. And remember, all purchases through Bandit Racing League's KeysAreAuthentics.com go back into the league, into the Drivers' Points Fund to reward the drivers, not only the champion, but the runners-up who do really well and put their time in each and every week to the series on Wednesdays. The link, as always, to KeysAreAuthentics.com is in the description down below. Great way to support the series, and we thank all those here at BanditRacingLeague.com that make KeysAreAuthentics.com possible. And here we go, Chris. I'm just going to say, first of all, just again to take it out of racing, as we've done a couple times. Have you been keeping up with the Bruins game in the background? Or are you kind of looking to avoid spoilers?
Yeah, we don't got to talk about that one right now.
Okay, I was just going to point out, not 20 minutes. I just think it's funny how the commentator's curse clearly goes beyond the realm of racing, because it was not 20 minutes ago that Chris said, "Well, we'll see the Leafs next week." And just like that, his team is one loss less away from being eliminated from the playoffs. I just wanted to point that out because I saw a notification on my phone from somebody sending me the clip of the last-minute overtime save. Not the point. I just think it's important to illustrate just how far the commentator's curse goes. But that being said, Chris, here we are, 40 laps to go here at Charlotte. So we're getting up there towards the final set of pit stops. Do we have Cody shirts yet? That's a great question. I just saw in the chat there. I don't believe we do at the moment, which if there is interest, and let us know if there's interest. If you guys want a Cody Welch shirt with a cool little design on it, I'll even design it myself because I know we have enough people there in the chat that are looking for them. If we can get a couple people, if you guys are interested in Cody Welch shirts, we'll pass the message on and make sure we make it happen. But here we go, Chris. 40 laps to go. It's about 20 minutes of live racing here, including pit stops. So it's not a ton of time for these guys to start getting those final spots here and capping off tonight's race with a win. We see Lacey, Yancey, Welch, the 86 of Wilson, and the 27 of Ramos, all the way down to Guzik. Still very true. Nobody has won a race yet this season in the top 6. This could be big here, folks. 39 laps to go when we go to the restart here. Who will get the first win of the season? Who will punch their ticket to the Season 11 playoffs? Could it be Lacey? Well, he's taking us to green. We'll find out here momentarily as the 7 leads us to turn number 1.
Yeah, really good restart of him, but he doesn't want to get too far out there because this pack of cars behind him is going to come in a hurry towards his back bumper. But a really good restart of the bottom line as a whole there. That I think that they got the best of that restart, starting behind the leader. But here they are, right back on bumper of the 7 car.
Really good run once again for the 86. Paul Wilson's back, folks. Paul Wilson up there on the high side trying to go around Cody Welch in that outside lane that his teammate Lacey has made work so well so far in tonight's race. And then Bivens kind of tucked in behind him, that 76 car, trying to get by Michael Ramos as well. Yancey way up to the high side, continues to hold that spot off from Welch, but Cody's getting closer and closer. And I think the guy in the best spot in the entire field right now is Lacey. Benjamin Lacey up front, still chilling. It has still been the guy to beat. Yancey really hasn't had a great answer since Lacey got by him for the lead a couple laps back.
Yeah, the 7 car is really loving that clean air. He's looked really strong ever since he's gotten to the clean air both times tonight. He's been able to put a little bit of a gap. Other than Jackson Knock being able to apply some pressure on him and just barely edge him out for the lead there. He's looked very comfortable up there. So I think we're still a little bit away from the last stop of the night. I think it's going to be coming around a lap 100, 105, something like that. That'll make everybody get to the finish. But yeah, if I'm the 7 car, I'm loving seeing this battle behind me. It's just these guys working their tires while I'm just kind of cruising around.
Whoa, here comes Michael Ramos getting back involved. Holy cow, we almost saw a wreck there from Curtis Yancey. A big wiggle from he and the 85. I assume there was contact as they both wiggled at the exact same time. But now the gap up to 0.6 away from the leader, Benjamin Lacey. I think they got to resolve this battle quick because he has taken off there. That 7 car arguably has looked maybe second or third best of anybody in the series this season. Still doesn't have a win to his name. It's now 8 races into the season. This one is big for him, but his teammate trying to conquer Curtis Yancey there for second to go give him a shot and run for his money. As the 27 and the 86 as well continue to fight here in that second pack. Can anybody get by here and start to go track down Mr. Benjamin Lacey? I was starting to doubt it, but now a really good run from Welch. He may be the guy to start to go catch his teammate.
Yeah, the 85 car is really letting the 51 works the top on him there, and kind of just swapped roles with them. Let the 51 get the bottom, and he went to the top, went right around him. So I think that, he has the air now. He has the draft from the 7. He should be able to get to the back bumper and kind of bring everybody with him. But it really depends on how close he can actually get before the car stalls out, because there's just kind of like a buffer of air there where just you kind of feel like you can't move any more forward. You're just kind of stuck unless the guy in front of you has some kind of trouble. But we'll see how these guys all can kind of factor this one out as we're approaching that final stop of the night.
I will say I don't foresee Curtis Yancey being the type of guy to particularly want to give a ton of help to Cody Welch to pass his own teammate. Though maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, I don't see. Do you foresee any way, Chris, that unless we see some coordination to break that, as you say, cloud of air we see between the front of the car in second and the back of the car in first, unless we get some team coordination, do you see any way somebody's getting by Benjamin Lacey on this stint prior to pit stops?
Unless he has a little bit of a problem, I don't foresee it. I think that these two guys are going to kind of ride here as we're seeing them getting closer and closer, and the the back half of the pack falling back there. But it's in their best interest to just kind of conserve their stuff and hopefully just kind of hash it out at the after this next stop here and kind of see what happens from there. But as of right now, if I'm those two, I'm communicating and saying, hey, let's just settle in here, take control of this race, and we'll settle it at the end.
Just know here as we see Cody Welch again continue to chase down his teammate with now Michael Ramos behind him in third as he just got by Curtis Yancey, who may now get swallowed up by the back of this pack, including Paul Wilson and Ricky Hart get involved in the battle here. I just want to very quickly note that the requests for some Cody Welch merchandise have been noted and will be passed on to the necessary admins here on the Bandit Racing League side. But as we've seen, I just heard a crash of some sort, or at least somebody slapping a wall, and Eddie Haggy there was up on the high side, so I wonder if maybe the 97 was briefly involved in something like that. But he gets it going here, gets it back settled down, and keeps going here. So as we cross the line this time, it is Lacey, Welch, Ramos, Yancey, Wilson, Bivens, Ricky Hart Jr., Jackson Knock, Brett Guzik back into the top 10, and Eddie Haggy is your top 10 right now. In tonight's race, we are 3 wide as Jackson Knock goes between 2 other cars. This racing is starting to get intense, and guys are going forward. So is Ricky Hart Jr. looking great right now. He's now making the move up to 6th. Where did this one car come from?
Yeah, he has certainly been flying. I mean, if I'm that one car, I'm trying to get away from this little section of cars here.
Holy
they
cow.
are going all out. I'm trying to make quick work of them and get on my merry way. But yeah, it's kind of complete opposites here. You have the front half kind of spread out a little bit, kind of settling in, and this little chunk of cars right here is just kind of all wadded up, stuck to each other. They can't get away from each other. So that's kind of interesting to see. But yeah, as we kind of cycle through this here, I mean, one car that's, I guess you could say it's surprising because he hasn't really been here for most of the season, but that 27 car, Michael Ramos, he is looking mighty fast right now, and he's starting to pull the leaders back to him as they're kind of doing the breaking of the draft, as you see in kind of the open wheel racing sometimes as they go down the straightaways. You're seeing them do that on the backstretch here, trying to possibly break the draft of that 27 car. But yeah, that's an exciting sight for me to see here is see that the 27 car up front.
Yeah, I was kind of alluding to it, but as we ride on board here with Michael Ramos, I was alluding to it pre-race. He has always been weirdly good at Charlotte of all tracks. He's always been pretty good at intermediates, but the 27 just comes alive here. I think these guys, the same way that for a number of years, like track specialists like Marco Sambros at Watkins Glen or like a Jimmy Johnson at Dover, or these guys that are just really good at certain tracks. Sometimes you'll have a really, really good race. You'll have the best car in those real-life NASCAR races, but just that one guy who was so good at the track just got the better of everybody. This could be a case of that, where Michael Ramos could upset these two teammates who, except for the 27, are really smooth sailing out there up front. He could be the one to upset that balance and maybe, just maybe, win his way here into the playoffs. It's not a surprise here. Michael Ramos, good driver, but that would be a huge result for the 27.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly has something figured out right now. He's putting all kinds of pressure on these two leaders here. He had a bit of a gap there just a handful of laps ago, and he certainly closed that. And he's putting himself in the conversation here as they've just quickly broken away from the rest of the pack here, this top 3. Seeing the 51 car starting to charge back a little bit, and also the 1 car of Ricky Hart. But yeah, we're about to hear some drivers duck down to pit road here. As you can see, the 27 car come down.
To watch him coming down pit road as he's all over the back bumper of the 27. That was fascinating to watch that entry there from Curtis Yancey, but he stays alive, stays green. And now the teammates, for at least a couple laps, get to settle back in and start to make their own progress, unless they're coming down this time. But right now it is Ramos, Yancey, Paul Wilson, and Brett Guzik in the pits. And now here come the teammates. 7 in the 85. 85 gets it loaded up in time. I don't think we should have problems there. No penalties that I can foresee. But further back, that 15 of Christopher Hamilton. I haven't talked about him in a bit, but he was wicked loose there. Coming on the pit road for his green flag pit stop. It gets it loaded up behind his teammate, and hopefully no penalty there for the number 15 car.
Yeah, I think it was really interesting to see the 7 and 85 kind of come together here. It's kind of like you're seeing at, we were just at Talladega for real life NASCAR racing, and you're seeing either manufacturers or teammates coming together, and you're seeing that here with the 7 and the 85. I think they were working really well together, maintaining that lead, and I think you're going to see them continue to do that. Once the end of the race comes here, if we're still green, I think you'll see them kind of say, all right, there's no more rules. We got to kind of go out there and settle this thing. But really cool to see them working together and trying to get these cars to stay up front.
Well, now the proverbial battle for the lead going to be between Mark-Allen Bivens, David Lakey, and Jackson Knock. All guys that are in the equation, even when you factor out the fact that they haven't pitted yet, as Mark-Allen Bivens going to be the first one down pit road, meaning David Lakey's going to lead the lap here. But yeah, just as we go throughout the field here, there are definitely guys in this pack that I think could compete, but it's really going to be a question of what pace do those guys who pitted already make on pit road. And right now it's the 7 going to jump back out to the race lead at the moment, with the 97 of Eddie Hagge going to be in front of his teammate Cody Welch, splitting the two of them, and he is battling for position here. So maybe Eddie Hagge, dark horse contender here for the race win, as we see a number of cars just flying by the 32 of Terry Condis, who has yet to pit. But Eddie Hagge splitting up the 7-8-5 guys who we know are battling for likely the race lead once it cycles out. Like, would you have had that on your bingo card there after the last stint there, Chris?
After the last stint, and after seeing kind of how he was running there, I alluded to it a little bit earlier in the race, saying, oh wow, the 97's looking really good. He's looking really strong. He had a lot of speed. But then he was in back-to-back yellows there, and I was like, oh man, the commentator's curse. So hopefully I'm not doing it to him again. He's looking really strong right now, and hopefully he can kind of keep that thing up there. But yeah, I didn't foresee him jumping into the equation there as being or breaking into that top 3. I thought that Ramos would have been included in that. I'm not sure quite what happened to him. He seems to have fallen 2 laps down for some reason. I'm not sure if he got a yellow for speeding because the 51 car maybe bumped him getting into pit road there. So that'll be an interesting thing to cycle back and kind of see what happened there. But nonetheless, yeah, I did see the 97 car putting himself in this trio up front.
I'm just going to float something out here, just as a few. I'm at the moment here, we're watching this battle, treating it as though the 7, the 97, and the 85, once it factors out, will be the race leaders. But I do want to go to the front of the field with David Lakey. Let's point out his numbers here. So you see on the bottom right, it's been 25 laps since he last came down pit road. We currently have guys out there that are still running at lap 40. So that's as they're coming down pit road. Oh, he comes down pit road now. Okay, he is going to come pit. David Lakey will come alongside Jackson Knock. I was getting excited there because the gap he's got to the back of the cars that have pitted. Benjamin Lacey, Welch, and Hagge, who have just unlapped themselves. Cody Welch just a moment ago making that move on Hagge for a technically second, the way that they are going to factor out. But the way he was lapping, if he could get to the finish there and keep those lap times up, he was going to be able to hold off those guys. And guys have gone further than Lakey would have had to make it to the end. Just kind of surprised he didn't at least try it, go for that aggressive strategy call. Kyle Fahey, you see at the top of the leaderboard there, 41 laps since he last pitted, and he will now come down pit road. So Fahey not going to be the one tonight to try that strategy. So now it moves on to Terry Condis, and he's got 16 laps to go. He's currently sitting at a 20-second lead. He's lapping about 1.7 seconds a lap slower, but only needs to go 16 laps. He's going to have to pick up the pace a little bit. I just want to see one of these guys give it a shot, and he's even got damage on the front end of that 32 car, but What do you see? What do you say, Chris? Maybe he or Kevin Foster as well. Those guys in that strategy who pitted 25 laps ago should be able to make it to the finish and have about a 20-second buffer. Do you think there's any shot we see one of those guys maybe go for the Brett Guzik the other week and try to do it on an alternative fuel strategy?
Hey, if they get the fuel in it, I say why not, right? I mean, even if you got to go at like a snail's pace, I'm willing to try it and stretch it out. I think I tried that in one race a couple seasons back. It didn't work out for me at all. My calculations were way off. But, nonetheless, you still give it the shot and see what you can do. Because what are you going to do? What else are you going to do? You're going to pit and finish 16th? Might as well try to run the thing out of fuel and finish 16th. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the way I look at it. If there's a chance that they can kind of stretch it, I would go for it.
Well, if it doesn't work, and right now the gap is sitting at 17 seconds live, you can see on the top of your screen from the other panel, 17 seconds right now the gap between Terry Condis and Benjamin Lacey as Lacey tries to track him back down last lap. Benjamin Lacey ran a 30.4 and a 32.1 was the lap for Terry Condis. So 1.7 seconds a lap faster. 13 laps should be enough time to pass him and then get ahead by about 5 seconds. But that being said, I think it's starting to settle in here that unless we get a caution, which I don't want to jinx, I never want to jinx, unless we get a caution, this is going to be the battle for the race win if the two cars in the old fuel strategy doesn't work. It's going to be Cody Welch versus teammate Benjamin Lacey to determine tonight's winner. Both guys that haven't won this season, but both guys who have been waiting for so long to do so. Does the story get better than that here, Chris? With 10 laps to go, one-on-one shootout, and even though I'll push it a step further, 7 versus 85 here, Chris. I'm gonna make you do it. Make a pick. What do you think? And we'll say commentator's jinx doesn't apply on this one specifically.
Oh, if it just so happens that those guys end up next to each other on the white flag lap and they're going for the lead, I mean, they're teammates. That's a tough one, but
yeah,
I really think that the 85 car is going to pretty much do anything to get a win here. I think that it's kind of been hanging out in front of him for so long now. I think that he's just hungry enough, and I think that Benjamin might understand that and might just kind of not fight too hard if he goes to go for the pass. But nonetheless, these guys are both super hungry for a win, and I don't think you can pick wrong either way. Both cars have looked very, very strong. I think that their strategy right now is just kind of to ride around, and I know that 85 car is trying to keep that 7 car just close enough, and then once the end of the race comes, probably gonna give him one final shot there. But yeah, that's a tough one. But if I had to put my money on it, and if they're gonna stay exactly as they are right now, I'm gonna put my money on the car in second place. So I'll put my money on the 85 car.
Terry Condis here now, 10 laps to go. He's getting close. He's got an 11-second buffer now. Kevin Foster's actually starting to catch him in behind, so we could even be talking about the wrong guy that could win on the strategy. But 11 seconds, the gap's about 1.4 seconds a lap right now. He's going to catch him based on conventional timing, but he's doing a really good job of just keeping it dialed in. And you have to consider the traffic that both these guys have to weave through, but more so for obviously Benjamin and Cody because they're going faster, and they're going to be battling each other here in a moment. So, I don't know, something to think about here. But let me paint you a picture here, Chris, as we see we're going to go on board here for a lap with Cody Welch as he prepares to make this move, or at least try to make it on Benjamin Lacey, potentially to get that win that'll break the streak that we've been talking about for so long. But paint the picture. You are our Cody Welch right now. You have to see your teammate every week. You guys, let's say you work together to figure out the track. You do practices together each and every week. Do you get to the point here with 5 laps to go where you say, for how long I've waited for this, for all the crap I've gone through to get to this moment, do you think about putting the bumper to the back of a teammate and just sending him? And it doesn't have to be like trying to put him in the wall, but do you just get the car on the inside, try to unsettle him a little bit, and see what happens? And do you think, especially if you're Benjamin Lacey, do you think you almost understand, or would you be still frustrated?
I think you'll be frustrated no matter what, but nonetheless, I mean, as I'm about to do it, I'm gonna say I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I have to do this type thing. But I think either way, they're both such great competitors that they're gonna go down swinging. Right now, I think that their tallest task is, and I think that's what they're trying to do, is trying to maintain as much speed and work together to get to these two leaders that are out there, because this thing is, they still have a sizable portion to kind of track them down with about 6 laps to go here. So it's not quite over yet, but yeah, I think that's their main focus right now, and then wherever that's kind of lays itself out. I think that they'll both understand either way. But good outcomes for them if they can just manage to finish 1-2. I think you saw that in real life with Junior Motorsports there at I think it was Daytona, where they could have all finished in the top 5 or something like that, and they wrecked each other out racing for the win. So that's certainly what you don't want to see in their scenario.
Just want to quickly report here on this battle for the back end of the top 10. We see Curtis Yancey just in front of that is Eddie Hagee. Christopher Hamilton's in that equation. You see the 04 Brett Guzik on the high side. So this is becoming the fun little battle for the end of the top 10. Still valuable points positions here to fight for. We're down to 5 to go. The gap's down to 5 seconds, but it's looking now like Terry Condis is less than a second a lap slower than these guys behind him. Right now, the math indicates Terry could win this. Terry could manage to hold off. And this would be one of the great wins in Bandit Racing League history. Now 4 to go, 5.5 seconds. He was less than a second slower that time. So time's saying he's going to do it. Can Benjamin or Cody go and chase him? And now this battle gets closer. This is shaping up like the ending of that beginning scene from Cars, where Lightning McQueen famously blows both rear tires, and the 2 cars right behind him battling for position, make it 3 wide at the line. I'm not trying to wish for the best finish that has ever happened in racing history, but man, would it be cool. Coming down to 3 seconds to go. Gap is 4 seconds now, but still, he's not more than a second a lap slower as Terry Condis. That lap was off the pace. That was a 32.6. This is going to be so close, folks. 3 to go here. Can Terry Condis bring it home in one of the great strategy calls and great strategy wins we've ever seen here in Bandit? Going to be 2 to go next time by.
Yeah, I'm wondering how much fuel he's got left in this thing. If he's able to, he's trying to half throttle at home or something like that. But this is just shaping up to be something crazy. These Bandit Racing League races lately have been insane with how they're factoring out. That was a 33-second lap. These guys are closing
They're closing fast. Here we go, folks. Wide angle. There is Condis. There is Lacey and Welch in the background. He's out. He is out. Oh, he was so close. A lap and a half away. Here we go, folks. This is the battle. The teammates going for the win. First of the season for both of them. We come towards the white flag, courtesy of Apex Sim Racing. 1 more to go. It all comes down to this here, folks, at Charlotte. Will Welch put the bumper to him? Is this the race, or will Lacey finally get that win that he's been looking for all season, that he's wanted so bad? Off the final turn, turn number 2, heading up towards the backstretch. He's got 1 more shot. Will Welch put the bumper to him? Final corner, turn number 3. Does he try it? He tries to get there, taps him, moves him up the racetrack. Does he have it in him? To the line. The 7's got to run the 85 to the corner panel. Is he going to wreck him for the win? Below the line. Just holds him off. Lacey, Benjamin Lacey wins it at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Holy cow. What a finish. One streak is over and another comes so agonizingly close. Holy cow.
Man, it cannot get much better than that. The last couple laps there were absolutely insane. You thought Terry Condis was going to kind of make it through there, runs out of fuel, coming to the white flag. You got these guys battling out. I have so much respect between these drivers here. He could have completely just dumped him going to that corner. He chose otherwise and decided to race back for the win. I have nothing but respect. I think that win is here coming soon for the 85 car, but man, that was so exciting.
You know what I love about this even more than the win, though I do love the win. Benjamin Lacey, congratulations, man. That has been in the works for a while. That's one of those ones that I was just waiting because we knew it was a matter of time. But Cody Welch, I can see him here on Skype as we'll bring up Lacey's Skype cam. He's there smiling. He looks jovial as heck in the background. He's happy for his teammate, and just what a finish. And I think almost more, it maybe equally so, with wanting to win. Very dark perspective there for Benjamin Lacey, but there he is, your race winner. But, if you're Cody Welch, you're happy for your teammate, and you're just happy to have a fun night of racing. What a finish that was. What a way to cap it off. And what a race for Kevin Foster, who I want to very quickly point out does make the podium because, well, it may have been Terry Condis that ran out of fuel. It did look like Kevin Foster made it. He got there, and he will come home. as your third place finisher tonight. Makes the podium here as tonight's race sponsor for Clutch Automotive. So really awesome stuff there. We're going to head straight into your winner's interview here with Mr. Benjamin Lacey. But just what a finish there, Chris. As we get set up here for your interview post-race, just what do you think of that one? The streak is over for Lacey, and what do you think's going through his head right now before we talk to him here in the interview booth? As you beat your teammate who you know really wants it bad, but you just finally get that win off your back that was starting to seem crazy he hadn't got it so far.
Yeah, either way, whoever would have won, it's a great storyline for those guys, and it's good to see Benjamin back in victory lane. Still waiting for that 85 car win, but it's coming. But I love the sportsmanship between those two. The 85 could have just absolutely dumped the 7 car to go for the win. Not only are they friends, not only are they good competitors, but they handle themselves with class, and that's what you like to see, right? As much as they want to win, they understood, hey, listen, we're both going to get a good finish out of this. And whoever wins, kind of a gentleman's handshake. We'll kind of go after them next week. But you really love to see that. And I just can't get enough of these finishes in this season. I mean, all season long, we've had highlight reel clips to kind of finish off races, whether it's a road course race, which has traditionally been kind of a snooze fest for us, or it's been here at Charlotte with this package, which you haven't really seen that great of racing, but it's provided such great racing for us. And shout out to the Bandit Racing League drivers, all of them, for kind of showing up this season and giving us such a great show. So thank you for those guys.
I couldn't have said it any better. Thank you, Chris, and here we go. It is time for your winner's interview with the driver of the number 7, teammate of your runner-up, Mr. Cody Welch. It is Benjamin Lacey, your winner tonight here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Unfortunately, no graphic below him. We'll try to get something made up for you, but he is your race winner tonight at Charlotte, and he is joining us in the broadcast booth. Hey, Benjamin, it is Marshall and Chris up in the broadcast booth here. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys. What's going on?
Oh my goodness, Benjamin, what a finish you and Cody just put on for us. One of the best in Bandit Racing League history, and you come out on the winning end of it. Just what do you even say about, I think as a racing driver, one of the things you wish for when you get a teammate, when you get a team together and you prepare for a race so long, is to have a good finish with a guy you like, a teammate like Cody. And could you have scripted the finish to that race any better, especially getting it as the winner, first win of the season?
Oh, man. I knew that bump was coming. Cody's hungry for one, so I knew it was coming, so I was trying to line my bumper up best I could with him. And he ended up giving it, and I think if he had momentum, he could have just gone right around. I don't know why he didn't or what happened there, but I was ready for it, and if it happened, I wasn't even going to be mad about it. So, but yeah, I think the only other better way it could have gone would have been for Cody to actually get the win, teammate of him. So. Super fun racing with him, and super good guys. So appreciate that, and yeah, it was a great race, man. Super fun.
That was incredible, and I think we want to remark about it too, because with this new package we've seen this season, one of the toughest things to do has been to take the lead and then dominate and try to break away. Because with this package, just the racing's been so close. We know it's been such a pack racing dynamic, but tonight, just the way Brett did a few weeks back, I forgot. I think it was at either Atlanta or Dover. You got up front, you just stayed there most of the night. You did a great job at holding the lead up front, conserving that gap, and then Cody just couldn't seem to get closer than 3/10 in that last chase down to try to get Terry and Kevin. Just what was it that was working for you up front? Were you tempering the gap? Was Cody lagging back? What was so dominant for you tonight?
It was being up front, getting the clean air. That helps out a lot, because you don't have to let off throttle or do too much there. You can save a little bit better on your tires, and it's easier to defend with these cars. You just kind of run up top and say, hey, if you're going to pass me, you're going to do it on the bottom. And I feel like that was kind of playing into the advantage of whoever's up front. So for me, it was just try to get up front, stay up front, and if Cody was going to get around me, the only way he was going to do it was on what he did on the last lap, and I was ready for it.
And I mean, coming out of this now, big picture this season, I think you had become the guy who, with how well you've raced all year in season number 11, didn't have that win yet. And I know it's one thing to get into the playoffs on points, but to finally do it on to win, to have a couple extra weeks now to prepare and get used to those tracks for the playoffs. What does this mean to you to get this out of the way, not only for your confidence, but to kind of give you that mental fortitude heading into the playoffs?
It gives a little bit of a mental breather. The first couple races of the season are pretty rough, pretty tough. So it kind of allows me to kind of relax a little bit more. You know, that does a lot in terms of the pressure being taken off, getting that win. Because I think I was like, I don't even know if I had broken top 10 in points yet. So this helps out a lot. Just kind of letting me kind of run the next couple of races a little more stress-free and being able to just kind of run my race a little bit more, not have to worry so hard about strategies or different things, and just kind of run them.
Awesome. I will now leave it to Chris. Chris, if you got any questions for our race winner, Benjamin Lacey, you're more than welcome.
Benjamin, I got to ask, I know you and Cody were probably talking throughout that last run there, but were you worried at all about the gap to the leader at the time, Terry? Because he was conserving like crazy, as I was hearing through some of the end race chat there, but I heard that he was conserving, and at one point he thought he was really going to make it, but he obviously ended up coming short. But I was just wondering what's going through your head as you guys are trying to race each other, but also get back to the point there.
It's you go back and forth. It's oh, there's no way they're gonna make it. They're not gonna make it. Are they gonna make it? No, they're not gonna make it. Can they make it? How much fuel? No, they're not. You just keep going back and forth like that, and it kind of was reminiscent a little bit for me for the way Cody and I were at Vegas last year. A similar situation with Brett saving that fuel run there, and we ended up getting it on the last lap. With about, I don't know, 5 or 6 to go, I still noticed they were about 5 or 6 seconds up, and I said, okay, it's time to start pressing because maybe they can make it. So I started driving a little harder into the corners, and I think that might have helped Cody get up a little bit closer because he just could follow the draft and just kind of run it. But I was kind of hoping he wasn't going to pull out and make the pass until the last second like he did, and that kind of kept us in the draft, and we were able to kind of run and catch him down a little bit quicker and have a few laps to go. But yeah, it was going back and forth. A lot of whether or not they did or didn't, and turns out one of them didn't, and I think the other one was super close if they didn't.
Well, in the end, you were the guy that benefits from the situation. You get it done. You hold off your teammate, and again, that's going to be one of the finishes that we remember for a long time. People were excited watching at home, and always best to be the winner on the end of that exchange. So, congratulations, Benjamin. It's so awesome to talk to you as the first winner, first interview of the night once again. And you know how this works. You're no stranger to wins here in the Bandit Racing League. This may be, in my head canon, I feel like you're getting towards 10 all time. You'd be getting close, so I'll have to count and keep a number in mind for next week. But yeah, any mentions you want to make, any shout outs you want to give, friends, family, sponsors, anything, now's your time to do so.
Film in the Wild. Check them out, youtube.com/Filming the Wild. All of our sponsors, we got Perfect Shine, Geezer Authentics. I think we got Moza. I'm blanking on a lot of names right now. Butt Kickers, Apex Sim Racing, all of our sponsors, man. Appreciate you guys being on board. Means a lot to us, and the admins here in the league, Marshall, Chris. It's gonna be a fun one to go back and watch. And just want to give out a shout out to Nick. Thoughts and prayers for you, man.
Absolutely, we really appreciate it, and I'm sure Nick appreciates it. I think he's here watching at home as his stuff goes on personally. So amazing. We thank you so much, Benjamin, for your great words, and yeah, great to see that 7 car back in victory lane. Get ready for the playoffs and go give him heck. Try to chase down that first championship.
10-4, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you. There you go, folks. That'll be it for your race winners interview with Mr. Benjamin Lacey. Congratulations to him. What a fight it was. What a really, really great piece of driving we saw from him there. Now, we're going to head on to your second interview of the night with his teammate, Mr. Cody Welch, who comes so heartbreakingly close in that runner-up spot tonight. Hey, Cody, it is Marshall and Chris up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Oh, Cody, it was so heartbreakingly close there, man. But as far as I was just saying to Benjamin, you could not script a better finish than that as a racing driver. You and your teammate slugging it out to the finish. He just barely gets the better of you. But are there any regrets the way you tried to approach that? He said he was kind of surprised you didn't kind of just run the top rather than trying to go for the bumper. But do you have any regrets the way that played out, or are you happy the way you tried to deal with that?
No, I'm happy. I made for an exciting finish. I knew, I didn't really think to go to the outside. And then again, I didn't really think I would be able to hold it up there and get around them. So I was thinking the bumper was my only option, but I wanted to do it clean. I didn't want to just send it off in there, no brakes, and just, run them into the wall. I wanted to be classy about it and, just move them up a lane and drive underneath them, but I just didn't have enough there at the end. But I probably could have taken them out, before the start finish line and won, but that's not the way I do things. Um, I try to be clean and race everybody with respect, even if it's going for a win. But not to say it's out of the picture. I'm hungry for a win, and if I gotta just forget about the brake pedal going into 3, then so be it.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those races that it just didn't feel like it could end with just an unclean move like that. Not like Ricky did to you a couple years ago. Never forget it at Texas. It doesn't feel fitting that the streak will end that way. But generally, big picture, it was just a great night of racing from you and Benjamin. We were talking about Ben seemed to have just a really good consistent streak up there up front, which in this new package has been hard to come by. From your other perspective, you always seem to be making passes, getting by guys. And Chris and I talked so much about how this package almost has a buffer between cars that's seems to be impossible to get by. Were you finding that tonight here at Charlotte? Was this a track that was easy to pass with, or was this one where that pass on Benjamin was really going to take only a couple attempts because it was so hard to do?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I waited till the very last corner to try it, because I knew I only had one shot to do it, because it is hard to pass here, and it's on restarts and being caught in the wrong lane at the wrong time, you just get freight trained, and I had to deal with that a bunch tonight. I think it happened 2 or 3 times on restarts where I was, I restarted top 4 and I dropped back to 7th or 8th because I just get freight trained on, the outside lane or whatever. So it made it tough. So I just, thankfully it went green enough to where we could focus on tire management, and that's where me and Benjamin both really shine. And I think that's why we're both right there at the end, fighting for the win. So, yeah, tough to pass here, that's for sure, but it made for some interesting racing.
And with that, I got to ask the typical question the rest of the year. We're now, I think, 5 races away in the regular season from the playoffs. That 85 car comfortable in the points. Again, as much as we want to see that win, as much as your fan base was out in force tonight, and we know they all want that win coming soon. But I mean, big picture, you're looking great in the playoffs. And the next couple of weeks, we got Bristol Dirt, the dirt race coming up next Wednesday. That's one you won't want to miss. But that, Road America, like Gateway coming up before the end of the year, Auto Club, a lot of really good track variety. And do you think that variety plays into your hands? You seem to be a guy that's always good pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, it'll definitely pay to be multifaceted at, different styles of racetracks. So, yeah, Bristol, I don't know what to think of that. I haven't even turned a lap on dirt at Bristol with these cars yet, so I have to work on that this week. Well, yeah, not just the same mile-and-a-half tracks. Like they're fun. They make for good racing, good entertaining racing. But the short tracks where you're hitting the brake, you're doing more than just mashing the gas is a lot more fun and kind of suits my driving style a little better. So we'll see.
Awesome.
But the goal is still to try to get a win, man. I mean, yeah,
Of course.
cool. I'm up in points and I'll be in the playoffs, but I need a win. Me and my fans need a win. So that's what I'm going for.
Oh, we have gotten to the point where this week our graphics were off the pace. We didn't have something prepared for it, but I'm going to go out of my way once those are fixed. Next week and in the future, we're going to have something ready for you, Cody. When that win comes, with how many people are excited about it, we'll make sure we have something. And based on demand, it sounds like we got to get some Cody Welch Race Winner T-shirts or something because people want merch, and I think that would be a great thing to do for it. But I'll also throw it to Chris here. If you got any more questions for Cody before we wrap up the interview.
Yeah, Cody, kind of trying to pull it all together here, I was saying that I wouldn't be surprised. I know you're going to be fast at because I've raced you here and you're out of this park fast as Loudon. Going into that race, I know that's probably a track on the schedule that you had circled. If it comes down to it, are you going to move in Lacey in that race there? Or what are you willing to do as we get closer and closer to the playoffs and as this season is starting to get ramped up more and more?
Man, the closer we get to the end of the season, the more I'm going to forget that I have a brake pedal. That's for sure. It's, it takes what it takes. And, if it's last lap, we're fighting for the lead and, no harm, no foul. I'll forget about my brake pedal. I'll drive right through somebody if I have to. It's time for a win. I'm not even kidding. I don't like being that guy. I like to be the guy that, just gets around you clean, based off talent and not just wrecking you. But, what the hell? It's exciting. It makes for a good finish. So that'll be my mindset going forward.
Amazing. Well, if you give us more great finishes like tonight or like the one with Ricky, I think we're getting to the point where 4 of the 5 best Bandit finishes in history involve that 85 car in some way, and I think that's a pretty good lineage to make for yourself. So with that, we'll throw it to you. You always have fans to shout out. You always got people to support, but any other sponsors or anything, or your teammate, anything you want to shout out as your chance to do so.
Yeah, for sure. As always, thanks everyone for watching, tuning in, watching me race. Everybody who puts on the broadcast, you guys up in the booth, you guys do an amazing job. Bill for the league, everything he does, he's working his tail off all the time to put this on for us. So much appreciated. And all my sponsors, all the sponsors for the league you see up here on the board. So thanks to everyone there too as well.
Amazing. And again, it's always such a pleasure to talk to you here, Cody. And again, it's agonizing that it hasn't been the first interview in a very long time. But man, that was such a good race. And I mean, at some point, being 2/10 off the win has to mean almost as much at a certain point. Great race. Congrats, Cody. Everybody's out there rooting for you. And I'm sure we'll talk to you before the end of the year, maybe as Chris suggests at Loudon, because you are always darn fast there.
Yeah. Watch out for me at that track.
Beautiful. Thanks, Cody.
Yep. Thanks.
There you go. Maybe all it'll take is a future schedule revision where we go to New Hampshire like 10 weeks out of the year. Maybe we do what's another track? I'll go to you, Chris, as we set up the last interview. When we think of Cody, when we think of New Hampshire, is there any other driver track combo that's pretty dominant besides like Nick at road course? Is the obvious answer.
Oh yeah, that was what I was gonna go
Yeah.
with. Is, Nick at any
road course.
But yeah, no, that's a good one. I think we're gonna have to use that in next week's broadcast. We'll have to put that in the chat there. That's a good one. I'd like to hear from the fans, but yeah, no, other than Nick at a road course or like, I guess you could say Ramos at Charlotte. He's been pretty dominant, or Lacey at a concrete surface track. How about that?
That's a good answer.
Yeah, he's pretty good at every concrete surface that we've gone to. So.
I would have said Ricky Hart Dover if he'd won another one more recently, but no, definitely in the conversation. Okay, so we are getting ready here for your final interview of the night here, folks, with tonight's race sponsor, most fittingly. That'll be a good way to end it off in your Clutch Automotive 125. Here we got Kevin Foster joining us up here in the broadcast booth. Let's pull up the driver of the number 8. Hey, Kevin, it is Marshall and Chris up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Finally, yes.
I am very sorry. We had a couple long interviews to get through, but we are here. Kevin, congratulations, my man. That was about the most fun way you can pull off a podium there. You were so close to making that really cool strategy call come to fruition there, and got to be especially meaningful at your sponsored race, Clutch Automotive 125 here at Charlotte, and you come. What do you think? Maybe 2 laps away from making it there on fuel. What was the strategy? Or was the bold call intentional, or was that just you found yourself in the right spot and said, "Well, why not? Let's go for this thing."
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. I ran a couple hard laps, the first couple laps, and I was like, there's no way. A couple more laps, I'm like, it might be a way. Then I was like, well, there's 36 to go, whatever. I was like, 33 to go. I was like, let's give it a shot, and saved from there on. And had I saved from the beginning, I might have talked to you first, but it is what it is. And I saved just enough, ran out of 4 there, ran out of fuel coming out of 4, and just coasted across the finish line. And I get to talk to you, man. So that's a win in my book.
You do, exactly. You get to talk up here, and yeah, to make that kind of out of thin air there was a really, really great job. But that's not to undermine just how quick and really overall solid you were. You seem to get faster and faster as that run went on. And this was a track that everybody seemed pretty even, but you seemed to find something there towards the end. And I got to ask, because it's the big storyline this entire season, that the package here this year has been really, really interesting, seeming like it's really hard to break away. And were you finding that tonight? What was that, making moves forward and back like? And are you almost glad with how tough it seemed to be to pass that you went for a strategy that really didn't require you to do much of it?
Yeah, with this package in this car, we're all on top of each other. I mean, you saw there the first, 15 laps or whatever it was, 19 laps that we ran there. Yeah, I mean, we're all just lined up. We're 2, 3 wide, and yeah, everyone's on top of each other. Yes, I wish that some people would, learn to just take it easy because we got a long race. But that's racing, and yeah, very close racing. extremely hard to pass. You have to really spend a couple laps working over a guy just to get around him. And thankfully, did have a long green flag run though, so we get spread out a little bit, different strategies, people pitting at different times, and I just kept my head down and did what I had to do, and man, it was yeah, it was. This is the win. I mean, I needed this for the points. Didn't start off the season very great, but definitely the last few races definitely showing more speed and improvement. So looking forward to the rest of the season.
Yeah, you really seem to be coming into your own here at this point in the season. The longer we've gone on, the faster that 8 car's gotten, and that momentum picking up towards the end of the regular season is great. Now that you're looking better in the points, looking at the championship coming closer, I'm curious. As one of the only two double champions here in Bandit Racing League history, what's your perspective here at this point in the year when you've got some free time and the races still are a little more fun? You know, they've moved around here a little bit week to week. Everything's still kind of figuring its way out, but once you come to the playoffs, does it click into a different mode for you? Do you feel a little bit more casual now than you feel like you will once you're really in the hunt for the championship in 5 or 6 weeks time?
Yeah, the first couple of races is like, it's the beginning of the season. Then I was, then you start looking at points. You start points racing. You're like, well, that sucks. I got to step it up a little bit, and you got to change the gears a little bit, and hopefully, tonight and the next couple of weeks, hopefully get ourselves in the playoff contention there. And yes, when playoffs comes around, it's a whole new ball game, and the boys at GFR and 785, we're gonna all put our heads together and hopefully battle it out for a championship.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see that fight between all of your teammates and, of course, the two very fast 785 racing guys who came 1-2 tonight. But we'll throw it to you, Chris, if you got any questions for your tonight's race sponsor as well as your third place finisher.
Yeah, no, Kevin, it's just great to have you up here. And at the top of the broadcast, I was saying, it's great to see you running up top 5 all night long. Just tell me what it took for you to kind of get that next notch up there. You were running in top 5, top 10 all night long. You did some pitch strategy there. Didn't quite make it on the fuel mileage like you wanted to, but just tell me kind of what put you in that process to kind of leapfrog those guys for that period of time and put yourself in that position to possibly win the race.
Yeah, beginning of the race, up there just hanging out with, top 5 there. We're all just, pretty much driving them away from the mid part of the pack. And then, cautions come and then it bunches us back up. I got a little bit of damage there. I think Bivens got into Brett and got some right front damage, and unfortunately I knocked the toe out, so I had to pit and use the fast repair. Then I hung in the back for a little bit, just playing the cautions. Then I was able to drive. Then I came in, put some tires on, was able to drive up to like 4th there before that next caution, and then I still had some damage on the car. Then I just fell back, and that last caution, I was like, well, I was hoping for a caution like 5, 6 laps into that run, and it didn't work out. So went to the next best thing and decided to save some fuel, and damn it, it finally worked.
Did indeed. Congratulations again, Kevin, for a really, really well-deserved performance and a really, really cool way to do it as a really fun contrast to the eventual battle for the win there coming up. I think 2/10 is the final gap between the winning two at the line. So a really, really great race overall, and what better week to do it than for Clutch Automotive and those guys. So speaking of which, if you have any sponsors you want to shout out, anything on behalf of the team or yourself, or any sponsor or any friends and family or any viewers watching at home, anything you want to shout out, now's your time.
Yes. Thank you to all the men and women at Clutch Automotive for letting me run this paint scheme. Really appreciate everything you guys, men and women, are doing at Clutch Automotive. Lovely company. Love it. The GFR boys, 785. Thank you guys for all your support. Big Red Propane, Clutch Automotive, Swinyo Diazzo, Advanced Auto Parts, all the other little associate sponsors that just put their name on the cars. We appreciate all that. Big thanks to my wife downstairs. Love you. And we are racing a little bit with heavy hearts tonight. Nick's wife, Kelly, her grandmother is not doing too hot, but so our thoughts and prayers are with Nick and his family this evening. And that's it, boys. I'm out.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you again for for sponsoring the race and on behalf of all you do for the series. And again, really, really great to talk to you and get the chance to speak to the driver of the 8 car and see, just talk to you in advance of a playoff where I'm sure you will factor in, provided that 8 car continues to get good spots. So congratulations, great race tonight, back on the podium, and let's try to make sure it's not the last time in this regular season, okay?
Amen, brother. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Sounds good. Thanks, Kevin. Awesome. There we go. Interview with tonight's race sponsor and third place finisher, Mr. Kevin Foster, in a strategy that came just laps away from what was sure to be a really awesome finish for the 8. Just what a race overall here, Chris. I mean, in a race tonight where we were really hoping for a better on-track product there to supplement some of our shortcomings here, production-wise, and we had it. That was one of my favorite races we've ever seen. A great finish, and just what's the big takeaway? What's the thing you're going to remember from tonight's Clutch Automotive 125 for a long time going forward?
I mean, I would say guys seizing the opportunity, right? You know, there was some trouble there earlier in the race where, you know, you've had some contenders knocked out of the race for whatever reason that may be, and guys coming together and working and getting up to the front. There was a lot of names up in the top 10 that needed to be up in the top 10. They needed the points for their championship hopes to get into the playoffs. So, you really like to see that, guys seizing the opportunity there. But man, what the finishes that we've had this season in the Bandit Racing League have been incredible. I mean, from Sonoma with Brett and Nick, to just, I mean, every single week there's been some kind of crazy storyline that has led to the eventual winner winning. And it's just been so much fun to watch. These guys and girls are putting out such a great show, and it's really fun to be up here each and every week with you, commentating these things. So yeah, I'm just super grateful to be up here with you, and to be able to watch these from such a cool perspective and commentate on them. So yeah, it's been super fun.
At this point in my mind, it wouldn't be the Full Send Racing Network broadcast without you, Chris. It has been so awesome to have you this year. Great to share alongside another great race with you, and as always, you do an awesome job. And the only thing else we have to shout out, other than, as we will in a moment, our race sponsor, Clutch Automotive, is our awesome week-to-week series partners here on the Full Send Racing coverage of the Bandit Racing League. First of all, let's start with the sim that allows us to put this all on. We got iRacing. iRacing is your premier simulator for all things racing. It's the reason we host this series where we do, and not those gosh darn NASCAR heat games that just cannot recreate this product. We got NASCAR in Premier Racing here on iRacing, and that's why we choose to stick with it. But if you want to get involved in NASCAR racing on iRacing and maybe join Bandit or a series of your own, go to apexsimracing.com. That's your best place to get all things sim racing accessories, button boxes, wheelbases, pedals, a variety of great products, Premier Racing products. Go to apexsimracing.com. Use our link in the description down below. We got Perfect Shot Auto Spa, as well as always, on behalf of Kevin Foster, tonight's third place finisher, and on behalf of the entire Bandit Racing League, one of our bigger sponsors and our longtime supporters here in the series. So we thank Perfect Shot Auto Spa, and our link in the description down below. We go to Track Camps and Gourmets as well, your place for premier iRacing track cameras, and just giving us some really, really cool camera angles tonight to help supplement some action and find moments we may not have otherwise. Remember, you can use Track Camps and Gourmets for your own purposes. Just go to their website down in the description below. Just make sure you get proper permissions and everything you need in order to use them for broadcast use. Remember, they're commercial only, and if you get permission, you can use them the way we do. EvanWallMedia.com. He's the guy that makes all of our broadcast graphics, and of course, former broadcaster and occasional commentator of the series. Go check out his really cool video docs about some short track racing stuff, or check out his various portfolio works and maybe get a custom graphic designed if he's currently got the time, which I know he's very busy with University of Alabama seasons. But that being said, go check out his stuff down below. Then we got Butt Kicker, your sponsor for all things butt kicking, I would say. I can't put it much better than that. Really cool premier product to add to your sim racing setup. Provides some sort of base shaking for your seat to provide that extra level of immersion. Base shaker, really, really cool product, and butt kicker is the place to go get them. It just takes your sim to that next level. If you're close and you're thinking, how can I make this even more fun and even more haptic and more interactive, that is the best way to do it. And finally, Moza Racing, again, really premier products, great wheels. Their wheels are well renowned. Everybody I've heard that's ever run one says it's one of the best decisions they ever made. Moza Racing, again, really premier products in the iRacing or just general sim racing space. You can use them for any sim you want. F1, iRacing, doesn't matter. Really, really good product. And of course, GeezerAuthentics.com, your place for all things merch in the Bandit Racing League. Remember, proceeds go back to the Drivers Points Fund to help reward our drivers who put time in this series each and every week, and help make sure that you get some really cool stuff on behalf of the league and some cool products to rep your favorite series or your favorite driver. And that, of course, goes back into the league and supports us. And finally, SimRacerHub.com, your place for all things stats, standings, and updates here after every Bandit Racing League series race. Our SimRacer Hub link is directly in the description, or you can go to the BanditRacingLeague.com website and then go link to our SimRacer Hub from there. With that being said, folks, I am, as always, your host for these broadcasts on Full Send Racing Network, Mr. Marshall Crocker Jr. I'm so glad to be back here tonight again. We apologize for some of the small little differences in this week's presentation. We hope it went off pretty spotlessly without a hitch, but next week we'll be back. We'll be back to our premiere presentation and for the rest of the year going forward, because we have a playoff to get to in only 5 races time, and next week we go to Bristol Dirt. That'll be a really fun race. Here's your schedule with the updated dates after a few of our week-to-week cancellations here. This is accurate to the end of the season, so go make sure you check this out to see where your favorite race is coming up on the calendar or where we're going to be in each subsequent week. And the finale still will take place on August 9th at Homestead Miami Speedway. With that, folks, that'll round us off for tonight's coverage of the Clutch Automotive 125. Thank you again to Clutch Automotive, one of the premier auto body repair shops in the West Houston area, and again, over 100 years of quality service and expertise. And tonight's third place finisher Kevin Foster is representing them on their behalf. Their link will be in the description, as will be updated after the race momentarily. ClutchAutomotive.com, your place to go if you are in the West Houston and Friendswood area. Over 100 years of technical experience, honest and reliable customer service. That being said, folks, have a great week. We will see you all back in a week's time, next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, for our race at Bristol Dirt. Have a great one, folks. Have a really, really awesome time. And thank you, as always, for watching another quality episode of Bandit Racing League on Full Send Racing Network.